All right, man. We're live. We're live.
I'm freaking out, man. You are
Dude.
freaking out, man.
Dude, this Luna thing is insane. This crypto is insane in the membrane. I've never seen anything like this. I had been around stocks for 20 years. I've been around crypto for a little bit. This is insane. Like a viable company that makes something viable, $100 a share, the next day, a bank decides to kill it and it goes to 0.0003. It's not normal. It's unheard of.
So so 3 zeros and a 3.
Point, 3 zeros, and a 3.
That's technically a 33.
I guess. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely positively insane. This is, and I guess somebody's going to try to bail it out and save this project, this company, whatever, this crypto, and maybe it'll rebound. But I don't know. This is just a bloodbath right now. I don't really even know what to say. But anyway,
You remind me of Dan Aykroyd explaining to Eddie Murphy about the New York Stock Exchange.
yeah.
Because you've never seen such carnage before.
Yeah.
Nothing in your life has prepared you for what you're about to see.
Yes. That's funny. Sell, Mortimer, sell.
Turn those machines back
Do you
on.
want your brother? Is he okay? Screw F him. I love that part. He's like, F him. And then in Coming to America, he gives them the money. Mortimer, we're back. Randolph, do you know what this means? Randolph.
I'm not talking to you, Mortimer.
You know what?
I'm still not talking to you, Mortimer.
Exactly. That's hilarious.
You know, it's funny, like two guys like that, they really could be back with that little bit of money.
Yeah.
They know exactly what to do with it. They know
Yeah.
exactly what to do with it.
Of course. And
That's
they
cool.
have
That's cool.
The key to the whole thing is that they have the connections. They have the people.
No. There's a more fundamental term for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's called dot. They have dot.
Yeah.
The idea is like Chachma is like your ability to draw down information.
Yeah.
And like psychic style, right? Bina is your ability to get a quick glimpse of the big picture. And a lot of people have that, but very few people have DOS.
Yeah. Every time I hear DOS, I think of DOS effects.
Yeah.
Remember DOS effects?
I love DOS FX.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember some of their right. They want effects. No, there's like I wish if like one of these tracks, if I get it started, I can like definitely.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I wish I could.
Expiada. Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Right. Hang on one second.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What is it? So, what is the name of that song? DOS FX. We Want Effects? No, that's the name of the album.
I think that's what it is. DOS EFX.
There's Shiver Me Timbers, Yo, Head for the Hills. We got the Willows and the Daffodils. And oh man.
Yeah, the single is They Want EFX.
Right. They Want Effects.
They Want Effects. That's the one.
Yo, Head for the Hills. We got the Weeping Willows and the Daffodils. I'll always remember that.
I just remember I was like in camp, in summer camp, and there was this kid who kept like over and over reciting I was actually the same year there when they had the 1992, the basketball Dream Team.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I remember in camp that was like.
Which camp did you go to when you were?
I went to this camp, Olympic, and it was like a Russian Jewish camp. A bunch of kids from Brooklyn, some kids from Jersey, but mostly from Brooklyn.
Who ran the camp? Do you remember the guy's name?
Yes, his name is Sieva.
No, okay, we're talking to somebody else.
Yeah. No, his name was Seva, Jewish guy. Not from or anything. He's just very proud Jew. And yeah. We at some point, one of the years, I think it was like 95 or 96, they had, like Novые Русские, like these Russian non-Jewish kids came from Russia, from like freaking Siberia. They came to, to be in the camp, and like they were all anti-Semites, or most half of them were.
You were telling me, you're like, don't do it, like, не делай по-еврейски, something like that, right?
No, oh no, that was my hockey camp. That was something else. No, these kids were just like straight up, just like they said some kind of epithets, and then I remember like the guy who ran the camp, and then a couple of these Jewish kids, like basically, all I remember is like they surrounded this kid and they like just roughed him up, and he was wearing a cross.
Yeah.
And they roughed him up, and then they just kicked him out of camp. They literally sent him back to Russia. He went back to Russia.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Dude, you know what I found just now? You know what I found?
Mm-hmm.
I found the lyrics to They Want Effects. And I think I should read these lyrics.
Yeah, you should.
To give the folks at home an understanding of why we are the way that we are.
Right? Why are you the way that you are?
And here's why.
Yeah.
Stickety bum hunt. I got the old parum pump, but I can fee 5-4, diddly bum, here I come. So Peter Piper, I'm hyper than Pinocchio's nose. I'm a supercalifragilistic tic-tac pro.
Yeah, tic-tac pro, there you go.
Dude, I thought, holy crap, it's all coming together now. I always thought it was tic-tac-toe though. Tic-tac, it's tic-tac pro.
Yeah.
I gave my oopsie, daisy. Now you got the crazy with the books. Googly goo, where's the gravy?
Yeah.
So 1, 2, buckle my shoe, yabba-doo, hippity hoo, crack a brew.
Yeah.
So trick or treat, smell my feet, yep, I drippity, dropped a hit.
Yeah.
So books get on your mark and spark that old censorship.
Wow.
And it goes, drats and double drats. I smiggity smack some whiz kids, the boogity woogity Brooklyn boys, about to get his dig. My waist bone's connected to my hip bone, my hip bone's connected to my thigh bone, my thigh bone's connected to my knee bone, my knee bone's connected to my hardy heart. Everybody, that was every hardy heart.
Yeah.
The whole year, right?
Yeah.
Yo, suck my hardy heart, right? Right. The jibbity jabber jaw. Wait, hold on. The jibbity jabber jaw. The jabber and your funny bone. Skip Ovaltine. I'd rather have a honeycomb. Or preferably the sesame. Let's biggity spark the blunt. Dun, 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 dun.
They want effects. Some live effects.
They want effects. Some live effects. They want effects. Some live effects. Snap a neck for some live effects. Well, I'll be damned. Shove it be timbers. Yo, head for the hills. Oh, this is my version with my friends. This is where I came in. I picked up a weeping. Wait, hold on. Well, I'll be damned. Shiver me timbers. Yo, head for the hills. I picked a weeping willow and a daffodil. So pick up Bucko or I'll pulverize McGruff. Because this little piggy gets busy and stuff. Arrivederci, heavens to mercy, honky talk, I get swift. I caught a snuffleupagus and smoked a boogaloo spliff. I caught a snuffleupagus and smoked a boogaloo spliff. I got the nooks, the crannies, the nitty gritty fody dough, all aboard, castaway here. Where's my boogaloo?
Boogaloo.
Yeah, boogaloo, right. I'm Steven. Agony. Where's everybody always picking on me? I screwed the whole rhythm up. Let me try that one more time. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be damned, shiver me timbers, yo, head for the hills. I picked a weeping willow and a daffodil. So back up, Bucko, I'll pulverize my gruff, because this little piggy gets busy and stuff. Arrivederci, heavens to mercy, honky tonk, I get swift. I caught a snuffleupagus and smoked a boogaloo split. I got the nooks, the crannies, the nitty gritty 40 dough, all aboard, cast away. Hey, where's my boogaloo? Right?
Boogaloo.
Oh, I'm steaming. Agony. No, you know what? I screwed up the whole thing.
Agony. Why is everybody's always picking on me? They call me pudding, tang, and raps my game. You ask me again, and I'll tell you the same. Because I'm a vegetarian, so I stick them up freeze.
I can't remember the flow. I mean, it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically, we just want to get the lyrics over. So no pork sausages, mom, please. A blitz shoot the breeze.
No pork. No. It's like this. So no pork sausages, mom, please.
Yeah.
Right, like that.
Yeah.
Blitz shoots the breeze. Tweedly dee shoots his lip. Crazy
day.
The sheriff. Yep, I shot the gift.
And that's pretty sneaky, sis. Oh, yep. I got my socks off, my rocks off, my Nestle's cup of cocoa.
Holly Hobby
tried to slap me, tried to rob me, silly stunt. You get dun 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 dun.
Oh man, there's a whole other thing. Now we're not
Snap a neck with some live effects.
we're not getting through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway,
yeah.
what was the song about?
Coming around
The video was even crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So these guys, there was like these guys, and then the Fushnikas that were kind of like, you know, like they did this like speed rap, and it ain't mumble rap. It's real full word rap
That's hilarious.
at a very high speed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these guys, that's talent.
It
Even
is.
if they- what?
It is. Imagine performing this. Like I couldn't even read this.
Yeah. Even if you say like that their lyrics or whatever and this and that and the other.
Dude, but my jam is Scenario. I gotta look that up right now.
Oh, Scenario, yeah.
Dude, this is oh my god, this is being recorded. I literally forgot that we
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll do it anyway.
Here. Tribe Called Quest. Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's a scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's a scenario? Hey, yo, Bo knows this. What? And Bo knows that. What? And Bo knows Jack. Because Bo can't rap. What do you know? The D-Dog is first up the bat. No batteries included. No strings attached. No holds barred. No time for move. Faking it. Gots to get the dude. So I can bring home the bacon. Brothers front, they say tribe can't flow, but we've been known to do the impossible like Broadway Joe. I'll sleep you if you want. My crew will help you get your Z's true. But here's the real scoop. I'm all that and then some, short, dark, and handsome, busting nuts on your eye to show you where I come from.
A Vex, human. I had it up to him. I did it. It was over. Acknowledge me. It's in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait for the border.
Go get a taco.
Up street. Meeting from the get-go.
Half this stuff they wouldn't be able to say today. Head for the border, go get a taco.
Yeah. Sit back, relax, and let yourself go.
Don't flip what you heard. Act like you know. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. We got the vibe. It's tribe, y'all. Tribe, y'all.
Be alive, yo. Inside, outside, come around.
Who's that? Brown. Some may I say call me Charlie.
The word is a herb, and I deep like Bob Marley. Lay back, the payback.
Contact. Can I get a hit? Hit. Boom. With a brother named Tip. I'm ready to flip. East Coast stomping, rip and romping, New York, North Carolina, check it out.
Loops for the troops for bounce to the outs.
Brown cow.
We're ill till the skill gets down. For the what was it?
Next, the tech but old to the new, but the rest of do from radio to the video to Arsenio. Tell me, yo, what's that scenario? True Blue.
Oh, you remember this better than I do. Is this from memory?
Yeah.
You remember this, dude? I didn't know anybody remember this better than me. I can't believe that.
That's my favorite line. From the radio to the video to Arsenio. Tell me.
Oh yeah, right. What's this? True Blue, Scooby Doo, Whoopie Doo scenarios ready to go. Rates more than 4 scores for the.
And then he goes, papes, makes, drakes, bakes, wakes.
No, we didn't get there yet.
Ship shape, crush grapes, apes that played the tapes.
Hold on. Scooby Doo, Whoopie Doo, scenarios, radio, rates more than 4. Scores for the snores that smother dance floors. Now I go for mine, shave the seed door. Chip shape, crush grapes, apes that play tapes. Make for the of an Ella and Ia.
Yes. Face means peace. See you later. Later, alligator. Pop goes the weasel and the herbs in the inflator. So yo, the D, what the O incorporated. INC into a flow. Funk flip, back face, fight.
I never get that.
Life, yo, how's that sound?
It's a leader quest mission. And we got the goods here. Right?
I could give a damn about ill subliminal. Stay away from crime. I ain't no criminal. I love my young nation. Groupie sensation. No time for hibernation. Only elation. Don't ever try to test the water. Little kid. And then this. Tell him what I did. You rush, attack. Then rebuke.
No.
You had to smack. No, I got it. Tell him what I did. You rush and attack. Then they rebuke and you had to smack. Cause a rebunction throughout the sphere. Raise the levels. Boom inside the ear. You know I did it. So don't see this. These lyrics don't have word.
Dude, let me do this. Let me do this. All right. Yo, Mr. Buster Rhymes, tell him what I did. I heard you rushed and attacked. Then they rebuked and you had to smack. Was around booking throughout the sphere. Raise the levels of the boom inside the air. You know I did it. So don't violate unless you get violated. The hip hop sound is well agitated. Time on the played out ego. So here's Buster Rhymes with the scenario. Watch out.
Combine, hold the juice from combine. Get up, wheel up, bring it back, come rewind. Powerful impact, boom from the cannon. I'm bragging.
Fucking me up, man. I'm gonna kick your ass, bro. I swear. Dude, you deserve a nut kicking for that, bro. I was just
Trying to be my mind, just
flow.
vocabulary
No,
necessary.
no.
Digging into my library. Oh my gosh. Eating Intel student like the one Peter taught. All over the track, man.
Dude, you butchered Buster Rhymes.
Pardon me. As I come back, as I do, I have to beg your pardon. When I travel to the Southern Road with the squadron, roar like a Dungeon dragon, change a little draws, the country pants are sagging. Try to this, I will trade in the turban, and I have a smelling like some old stale urine.
Chocolate, the chocolate chicken, the rear cock diesel. I can't remember the rest. Because you made me so mad, I can't remember now.
Dude, it's probably one of the dopest rap songs in history. I mean, the album itself, all their albums are like this.
No, this track I would say is the top.
I don't even know how they did this. They changed different, like they had different flows in one rap song. It wasn't the same. It wasn't like da 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 da. They kept changing the modality.
Dude, these guys got less talented and stupider as they got more famous and richer.
Yeah. Not less talented. They just used less of their talent as the years went by. I don't know. This is
literally it hurts that you screwed up my busted. That was like my favorite part.
Dude, this is actually a musical masterpiece. This track.
I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. You are the only other Russian that I know who can recite this track.
Dude, because here's the thing. Like, first of all, I was in Brooklyn at the time, and this was like what? This was happening in this song came out when? What year? It came out, it came out in 92. So basically, like, I was in 6th grade, and my elementary school class was very diverse. It wasn't like a bunch of Russians. And I just remember, like, everybody was into, I had like kids, like I wouldn't stay up late enough to watch Arsenio, maybe once in a while, but I had friends in my class who were like obsessed with Arsenio show. And they would always like give over, like the next day in gym class, they would give over like what happened, who came on Arsenio, who was the guest. And I don't know, they always talked about like all these acts and all the actors and all this, and then like this Tribe Called Quest stuff, it came out on MTV. I didn't have MTV, but some of my friends had MTV. They had cable. And like, it was playing on the radio all the time. And I remember like there was kids in Z Park, in Avenue Z in Brooklyn. They had boom boxes always. They were either playing freestyle, the stuff you heard on like KTU, or they were playing this kind of stuff. So I was just, as a kid, I was just picked up stuff, picked up the lyrics. I just heard Scenario, like the actual musical, part of it. And then I remember when I moved to Jersey, I had cable. This is already 93, end of 92, 93. And I would just watch the video. And I was like, this is incredible. And then I would literally like, I would try to remember like the different moments in the track. I don't even think I remember the words, but I remember like the flow, the way they did it.
Exactly. It's the flow is the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
but like later when I actually learned the words and how it goes with the flow, then I was, now I'm able to do it, put everything together. Dude, I mean, it was just like, do you remember Rex and Effects?
Yeah, absolutely. But that was
that song every day. I came home.
Yeah,
VH1 every day, and it was the #1 song in America.
That was the first. That was like, remember I was saying about Biggie, how he made the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was the one before. Like that was like bitches and hoes,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And like rap video girls dancing around. That was the
Rex
first.
and Effects, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rex and Effects, baby, 1, 2, 3.
Rex and Effects, baby, 1, 2.
Rum Shaker, that's what it's called. It was literally like the #2 song, #1 rap song, #2 song in the entire country. Rum Shaker.
Dude, even when I was a kid, I sensed, like, for instance, like I would listen to, as like when I'm 12 years old, like I'm kind of like depressed on the bus listening to. This is my second favorite, actually. I don't know, maybe you know Black Moon.
Black Moon?
Yeah. It's like don't front. I got you open. Right.
Black Moon.
It goes like this. It goes like this.
Look them up. There's nothing.
Hold on. It goes like this. Let me just get. The
Oh, here you
flow.
go. Black Moon Group.
Let me get the flow. Just hold on.
Hold on. Brothers lyrically acting, combining, kicking music out on nations. Oh my God.
No, hold on. It's like
Who got the props? Oh, this song. Who got the props? Who got?
Oh no, hold on. Just can you give me like Mr. Hyper over here? Just give me 2 seconds. Let a brother catch his flow.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, original cooks, original heads. We doing it like this. Word up. He goes, I woke up in the morning, hopped on a train. I saw my man had an L in his hand, hide it from the beast. At least I catch a bus before I hit my block. I take a mega hit fronted on the good ship. Lollipop, move the hop so I can put the hip in the grip. Everybody slips so I can take a trip to the dip, dig a deep hole, microphone control.
Wait, quick question. What's the name of the song?
You ruined my flow.
What's the name of the song? I'm trying to get.
It's called I Got You Open Remix.
Oh.
There's a remix. There was a one before that was like.
I know this. Okay, yeah.
You know what? Can you play it? Can you play it for a second, just so you?
I can play it. I don't know if it'll.
Just so you could get. This is like, this is actually important. This track right here for the folks at home. This is what this is the feel of New York when we were growing up. This is like when it was good.
Let's see if. Can you hear it? Hold on.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
It's really good, actually.
You can hear it?
That's not it. Try I Got You Open remix. Try
this
that.
Is just the beginning. Oh, remix?
Yeah. These guys, by the way.
This?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I know this.
Original hands.
Yes.
Doing it like this.
Yeah. This is actually beautiful.
I woke up in the morning, hopped on the train, I saw my man, he had a hell in his hand. Hide it from the beast, at least I catch it once before I hit my block. I take the major hit from the on the good shit, lollipop, move the hop, so I can put the hip in the grip. Everybody's lips, so I can take the trip, said the hip, dig the deep, a holy microphone control with soul. Look at my hot eyes, you tell me how could you be cold? I'm coming to you from the underground, with thunder sound. Number one question, yo, how can I be down? Well, I tell you, bring your lighter and roll your finger. Back up on your lighter so you see the fire finger. Go from left to right, then front to back. Verbal, nervous, give the mic contact.
Should I play the whole thing?
What?
Should I play the whole thing?
I would listen to the whole thing, but you don't have to.
It's 4 minutes long.
Well, maybe that's too long.
But this is like, you could understand the lyrics. It's amazing.
It wasn't even about, even though the lyrics are pretty cool, it was
the melody.
It was the melody. Can you imagine like on a winter day with the sky is gray and you're on the bus headed to school?
Yeah.
That's like, this song was like, I don't know, it was like a prelude.
Yeah. What can I say? Can I read to you an article that was written by someone? And
Can I ask you a question first? Can I ask you a question first?
Yeah.
Do you think that if you asked, let's say, even like the average, let's say, even 19-year-old black kid, if they ever heard this track?
They probably heard the.
I doubt it, dude. I'm starting to doubt it, and I think that their brain would melt if they heard this.
They probably would melt. Yeah.
So which article you want to read?
I can't even read it now because it requires payment. It's New York Slimes.
Oh man.
The kids are, man.
Dude, it took me so long to unsubscribe from New York Slimes.
It's crazy. When you say so long, like the mechanical aspect of it, or the actual like.
There's so many stupid steps, and then there was like it wasn't working, and all these excuses.
Yeah.
They don't want to let go of your money.
Yeah, they don't. Get unlimited access for $1 a week. No, I don't even want to pay them one dime on my money. Not one dime. No, there's an article entitled. Hold on. You know what? Let me see if I can like find it. If I can find it.
Dude, there was a fantastic Crown Heights-ism that I heard one of my roommates say a long time ago. He said something like, he's from Crown Heights. He's like, he goes, "She's not worth a penny of my time."
Exactly.
That's such a Crown Heightsism, but it's brilliant.
Exactly. Mhm. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can. I think this was published in a blog. There we go. No, it wasn't. It was published in the New York Times style section.
What do we
Oh,
got?
for crying out loud. Oh, seriously. Whatever. It was entitled, "Are Bitcoins More Real Than Boyfriends?" That's what it was titled.
Oh, that doesn't sound lame
Sounds
at all.
wonderful, doesn't it?
That doesn't sound lame at all. That sounds like
It doesn't sound lame at all, right? I don't even. Dude, I basically read this article and I'm reading it and supposedly the girl is talking about, oh, okay, never mind. It's talking about like some, I don't know, interlude that she had or dating some guy.
oh,
And then it was like used all these fanciful words, and all of a sudden she just broke into like talking about Bitcoin. And then the article ended. I have no idea what the point was. And this is the second article I've read from this person. And it's always the same thing. I have no idea what the point is. They say a lot of fancy things. The person says a lot of fancy things.
what if it turns out to be so intelligent and esoteric that it's just we don't get it because we're idiots?
Yeah, maybe that's the case. Maybe I'm just a troglodyte. Maybe I'll go on a date with somebody wants me to go on a date with this person. Maybe I'll go on a date with her and then she'll say some things and it'll turn out I'm just like I'm like a total dumbass. I'm not as smart as I thought I was.
We seem smart to ourselves, but I'm
Yeah.
sure there's people out there that we're just complete
Oh,
idiots.
of course. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of people listening are like, yep.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, you're absolutely right.
What the H?
So you were telling me about another aspect of what we spoke about yesterday about the the pussification of the Jewish man or something like that.
Yeah.
American Jewish man.
It occurred to me that one of the reasons that this is the case is that the average Jewish man nowadays does not read Tanakh.
Yeah, it's true.
Something happens. I've noticed if anybody who's actually gone through the process of reading Tanakh, like I am, I'm still not through. I'm only on the second book of Samuel.
Okay.
But when you read about, our forefathers, right? You get a connection to them, and it's an emotional connection, and you get to know what kind of people they were, and you kind of start to identify.
Yeah.
With them, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. And you're reading about, for instance, I'll give you an example. There's a horrible war, which has led to the death of King Shaul, King Saul.
Yeah.
He was, killed by the Philistines. Most of his career, he was decimating the Philistines. He was the scourge of the Philistines.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Philistines, but what happened was, in the end of the war, they killed him, and they horribly desecrated his body, and they took his remains to the pagan temples in the Philistine territories, and they put him on exhibition. They dismembered him. They put him on exhibition. Then it describes, like, kind of anonymously, a group of men who are described as stalwart. You want to look up that word? STALWARTH. Stalwart.
One second. STAL.
Yeah.
WERTH. Stalwart.
Stalwart. WARTH.
There's stalwart. Loyal, reliable, hardworking. STAL.
I think you're right. I'm sorry. I thought it was TH.
Yeah, stalwart.
Loyal. It's pretty much like loyal, staunch.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ways that it's used. But so and they were actually they're described as stalwart and gallant.
Yeah.
So they went on a mission to the Philistine territories to get back the remains of Shaul, right?
Yeah.
And they got him back, and they all came back, and they gave him a proper burial that like a king deserves. If you can imagine how difficult it was to infiltrate the Philistine, like the most highest security, right? What did they have to do? How many Philistines did they have to like decimate just to get? That's the kind of guys that we come from.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine, right? Isn't that hard to imagine? That's what our forefathers were like.
It's not hard to imagine because, again,
No, because of like what we're like.
well, yes and no, because again, I imagine what my grandfather was like.
Yeah, you're right. When I think about my grandfather, you're right. My grandfather, he killed the 2 Ukrainians
Yeah.
that led the Germans to kill his family.
People who did what they had to do. So like, yeah, people who did what they had to do. History thrust upon them.
Yeah.
They had no choice.
Yeah, no, both my grandfathers were. I mean, basically, it's not really. We're not boasting or anything. Like basically, if your grandfather fought in the war and he's still here, odds are he's a great warrior.
Yeah.
Because if you made it, that's everybody makes it by the grace of God, as they say. But I don't know.
Yeah, so I feel like history kind of forces it out of people. You know what I mean? It forces greatness that like it's like that famous thing, what is it? The hard times make great men, great make
abundance.
Here, hard times.
Hard times make great men create great abundance.
Strong men. Quote. Hold on.
Good times make weak men.
Here. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
Yeah.
It's actually from post-apocalyptic novel by Michael Huff. G. Michael Huff. The idea, which I have termed elsewhere, this is like from some writer, the Freeman mirage after the science fiction novel Dune's Desert Dwellers, posits that harsh conditions make for morally pure and militarily strong people, while wealth, and sophistication make for decadent societies and poor fighters. Dune is just one example of the numerous speculative fiction novels that use the idea, from the Conan stories to the dreadful Star Trek episodes. It is so common as a popular theory of history and military power that it has spawned, like most bad ideas, its own genre of internet meme. So this person thinks it's a bad idea. This is funny. What is this? FP. Foreign Policy Magazine. No, not. Why am I not surprised? Hard times don't make strong soldiers. This is the title of the thing. Western strategists keep falling for myths of invincible barbarians. What a loser.
What was the last thing you said? I couldn't hear you.
Western strategists keep falling for myths of invincible barbarians. This is like the article byline of this Brett Devereaux, a historian specializing in the Roman economy and military. Okay. So he basically thinks that like this is not true.
So what does he think? Actually, I regret asking that. I don't want to know what he thinks. I don't need to know what somebody thinks.
Well, we see that we spoke about it yesterday. We elucidated it yesterday that like you said, these guys don't come out to these Israel rallies because they're comfortable. And you know, the Arabs are not so comfortable. And even if they are,
Those that do, no, those that, dude, by the way, you know, like the Saudi royal family, they're not coming to these rallies.
no, I
No.
know. Yeah, of course not.
Just so you know, this is something that people should hear, okay?
Hmm.
Ishmael, right? And the Arabs that the tribe of Arabs that Muhammad came from,
Yeah.
were white.
Yeah.
Okay, they were Caucasians,
Hmm.
and during the conquests, they conquered Asia, big pieces of Asia, and North Africa. Okay, and even into Central Africa, right? So that's how they got darker.
Yeah.
Okay, and they have a caste system in the Arab world. It's not just in India.
Yeah.
And the caste system, I don't know if they're gonna say it outright, but it just so happens to be the lighter skinned you are, the higher up you are in the caste system. What a coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, look at Bashar Assad.
Yeah.
He looks like Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
Am I right?
That's,
Am I right?
yeah. Done that.
He looks like Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
Right? Right? He looks like he should be playing in the. I don't know. He looks like a ball player. He looks like
Yeah,
some.
well, listen, the guy was like a eye doctor or something like that
He looks like an Italian guy
in England.
that does your taxes.
Yeah, he doesn't look like one of these guys you see on, you know, on the streets of East Jerusalem, running around.
Okay, the highest up in the Arab world. Look at Palestinians, most of them,
That's garbage.
as second class Arabs. Okay, and for most of history, they were happy to find somebody to deal with them. You understand? It's like they killed two birds with one stone. They got rid of their Palestinians, okay, and they used at the same time those same Palestinians to cause grief to the Jews whom they hate.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is what goes on in the Arab world, right? I'm not sure exactly why I brought this up. What were we talking about right before that?
We were talking about, oh, just like the pacification of.
No. I mean, like when we touched upon. Can't believe this. Getting zapped, dude.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. Like why can't
No,
I?
we're just like, no, we're just talking about like, oh yeah, the guys that come out to these protests, kind of the Arabs.
Yeah, no. So you notice like most of the time you're gonna see, well, if it's in New York, it's gonna be Asian Muslims, right? It's not gonna be Arabs. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not. It's gonna be Asian. It's gonna be like Pakistanis, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Bangladeshis maybe, you know, like that.
Hmm.
Okay, and so there is like, you know, they're going to send their, you know, their shock troops, their locusts that they produce.
Yeah.
So, and another thing that we talked about that today that we didn't talk about yesterday is another reason why Jews aren't so willing to go and do this is because their support system, their society, our culture would not support us in this type of behavior. Okay, their support structure, right? Like the Muslims who go and they harass and they do this violence, support them. All right, they get emotional. What's the word? What's the psychobabble word? Like, you know, when you're when you were approved of.
Yeah.
Validation. Right?
Yeah.
They're when they go back to their culture, to their home, they get validation from almost everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even their mom in a lot of cases, right? We talked about that. Okay.
Yeah.
And if a Jewish guy did this, he's the piece of shit of his whole community. No one, oh, there's that Meshuggah. Nobody talks to him. You're not going to get a job. You'd be lucky if they don't report you to the cops.
Yeah.
Your own people.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have an epidemic of like, we don't support each other.
Yeah,
We talk a lot. We talk a lot, but we don't support each other.
Yeah.
Not when it actually counts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to showing up and fight, with fists and stuff like that, I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe if it was a bunch of Israelis, they probably show up, but American.
There was that video with these Israeli guys, soldier guys. You saw that video where they were in the city, in Midtown, and they're like fighting these Arabs during the last, the protests.
Yeah, those guys would show up, but when I'm talking about our people, I'm talking mostly about American, non-Israeli Jews.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Russians might still show up. There's like a 50-50 at least.
Yeah.
Americans, 20%.
Yeah.
Too comfortable and not enough, to just. You got to be. You have to be like Yiftach.
Yeah.
Or Gidon, right? No, not Gidon. Gidon, he wasn't like rejected. There's a couple of guys that were completely like rejected who became like the leaders. Yiftach was one of them. There's another one too.
Yep. Yeah, we're like a ways away from this zeitgeist, you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How could we get back to
that? We got to make the Israelis, the secular ones, we got to make them read Tanakh, and it'll take care of itself. And you know who else has to read Tanakh?
No.
The Haredim. They don't read Tanakh either.
Yeah, that's true. There's a reason they don't read Tanakh. They don't read Tanakh because of political reasons. Because the Zionists, they didn't want to be associated with Zionism.
I never heard that before.
Yeah, no, that was the reason.
What do you mean?
Because, dude, I'm telling you, because Haredim were under the impression that Zionists were basing their entire ideology on a lot of archetypes from the Tanakh, specifically Tanakh. This whole strong man and this and that, strong Jew. So yeah, that's essentially what it was. And the Haredim saw that and they were like, well, we don't want to be associated with that. And so they basically took out, it's like it's a running joke. You ask a Haredi guy or Yeshivish guy, do you learn Tanakh? He'll say, yeah, I learned Tanakh and Gemara. The Gemara talks about certain Tanakh.
It does.
Has psukim from Tanakh.
For the folks at home, the Gemara is the Talmud. The Talmud is the commentary on the actual text of the Hebrew scripture, including Tanakh. Okay, and they quote verses from Tanakh and then explain their meaning and the laws that are applicable.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeshiva guys learn Tanakh.
Yeah.
But rarely is it like just the Tanakh by itself. Just kind of like
it's like a joke. It's like essentially a joke.
I wouldn't call it a joke. I wouldn't say no.
Joke, but no. I mean, meaning like
they're not in the habit of it. That's about what I would say.
Yeah.
They're not in the habit of it. It's not.
Yeah.
However, all the rabbis, obviously, the rabbis all go through all of Tanakh, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But the average yeshiva guy, you ask him, have you read the whole Tanakh? Few of them will say, well, no, not the whole Tanakh, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's read like maybe, Shir Hashirim or Kohelet or Mishlei, something like that, but never, maybe Sefer Daniel, Megillat Ruth, but like just go through it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're probably right. And I was thinking something similar to what you said, that it's because I think that they're not telling yeshiva kids to read Tanakh because, first of all, it's too rough.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. the amount of bloodshed and just horrible things that occur. It's really, it's scarring, dude. I'm 40 and I'm scarred by it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like it's too intense.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one reason. It's like you don't want to expose your kids to that.
Yeah.
Normal, right? But you got to, because that's our Torah. That's what it is. I mean, God, that's what God wants us to look at.
Yeah.
For a reason. And that's why, and so for that reason, that's why yeshiva guys make such soft kids. That's what I think we figured it out, dude. I think really we boiled it down, because you don't read Tanakh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Listen, I have a friend who teaches in Mahon Meir, and that's what he told me like 10 years ago when he first met me. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, a lot of the issues are the fact that, and when you don't when you don't learn Tanakh, you have a limited Torah. He said this like very controversial statement. They have a limited Torah. How can you say that if they have a limited Torah, but they have a limited Torah?
Yeah. I want to, just for the folks at home, some people might not even know what we mean when we say Tanakh. So can I just read the books?
Yeah.
Just the titles?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tanakh is an acronym for the Hebrew scripture. Okay. So it's Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. So here's the books that are included in it. Okay. This is important for Christians, because Christians get confused about this. Most Christians that I talk to, they don't think that Yehoshua and Yirmiyahu are part of the Torah. So listen up, everybody, especially Christians. Okay, so the first is we have Genesis, we have Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Okay, that's the Chumash. That's the Torah proper. Then we have the prophets. Okay, we have Joshua, we have Judges, and Samuel 1, Samuel 2, Book of Kings 1, the Book of Kings 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Isaiah, then we have Jeremiah. It's weird to say Jeremiah. Then we have then we have Ezekiel.
It's funny.
Then we have Hosea. Then we have Joel. We have Amos.
Yeah.
We have I can't even say Ovadia. I'm sorry, I have to say it in Jewish way. I don't even know how they say it. Then we have Jonah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have Micha.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably Micah or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have Nahum, which I actually found out how they say it. I was very curious about this. The Christians say Nahum. Nahum is Nahum to them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is it?
Yeah, Nahum.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then we have Habakkuk. Then we have Zephaniah. Then we have Haggai. Then we have Zechariah. And then Malachi. Okay. I think that's Malachi, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's the prophet section. Now we have a section called the writings. Okay, so we have the Psalms of David, we have Proverbs, written by King Solomon. Then we have the book of Job, written by Moshe, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Song of Songs, written by Solomon again.
Eov. Wait, Moshe wrote Eov? Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But Eov was one of Paro's advisors, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So yeah, there were three advisors: Yov, Yitro, and Balaam.
Mm-hmm.
Bilam.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, here the writing section. We have the Psalms, Proverbs, Job, Song of Songs, Ruth, Lamentations, Ecclesiastes. That's Kohelet in Hebrew. That's also Solomon. Then we have Esther, Megillat Esther. Then we have Daniel. Then we have Ezra. Then we have Nehemiah. That's Nehemiah, I'm sure, right? I'm assuming. Then we have the book of Chronicles 1 and 2. That's Tanakh, folks. Everything that you just heard. Okay? You know what's funny? When I was in the apprenticeship, one of the guys who was in the apprenticeship with me, he was a J Witness preacher, actually. He was a young kid, by the way. He was like 22, already an ordained minister. Okay? And he's a funny dude, right? he's like, he goes, so what, what is your scripture? Can you name it? So I told him this list, right?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, right. So you guys, none of the new stuff, right? I'm
Mhm.
like, no, none of the new stuff. He goes, what is it to you? Like fan fiction? I'm like, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's hilarious.
That is dude, that's a brilliant way of describing it, by the way. It could be like fan fiction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure he was being facetious, but he struck gold there.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So read all that, what we just said. I'm in the middle of it.
Yes.
I'm in the beginning of Samuel 2. I got a ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you don't read Tanakh and you don't have a support structure that would reward you and validate you.
Yeah.
By causing trouble and violence, right, to your enemies.
Yeah, and so another question begs: why do they have a support structure and we don't? Like, meaning, why did forget about why we don't? I know why we don't, but why do they have?
Because they have a warped culture and religion.
Yeah.
And also, they are being used by the Sitra Achra, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Sitra Achra itself is being used as a tool by God,
Yeah.
right? To punish us or to cause whatever, to do this.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're primarily tools of punishment. But if you want to get into the details of how that tool operates, well, it's used by the Sitra Achra. It promotes the worst character traits in a human that a human being can have, and it glorifies them because it's in the name of something religious.
Yeah.
Right, like ISIS, they would like rape, murder, torture, right?
Yeah.
So everybody who was drawn to that sort of behavior, who had lust to do those things, they were drawn to that environment because they would have the opportunity to do it, and from the high moral ground, from their perspective. Couldn't be, what a deal. You can be a murderer, psychopath, killer, right? Cannibal even, okay? And a pedophile, okay? And you could be, and it becomes a holy thing.
Yeah.
That's why. Do you have any? Did I miss something? Do you have any other?
No, I didn't miss anything. It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me how the supposed. I mean, I guess it makes sense in terms of when you go back and you look at the way the Nazis behaved, where it's like a supposedly what is it called? A supposedly civilized group of people are in reality not what do they Hitler used to say, we're barbarians and proud of it. So it's almost like you have the West that sees how these guys are behaving, and the West pretends to be all proper and prim and proper and all this kind of stuff, but they give these guys a pass. I mean, I always thought it was just more like, Asaph giving Ishmael a pass, because Asaph is, Ishmael is Asaph's father-in-law. Asaph is like known for primarily kibbud abayim. That includes his father-in-law. He married Ishmael's daughter.
I didn't know that includes the father-in-law too. That's interesting.
No, but I'm saying that would be the idea here.
Yeah.
If you're talking about kibbud abayim, you ever hear a person calling their father-in-law like Abba? They people do that. They call their mother-in-law mom. It's a thing. Even in like Western culture and Western language, I guess you could say, linguistics. So I mean, I always chalked it up to that.
Honestly, like, can I just, on a side note, that always seemed a little bit weird to me.
What?
Calling your in-laws, yeah.
It does seem weird, but I'm just saying it. All I'm saying is that it's done.
It is. I know. I've seen. Of course,
Yeah.
even in my own family, it's just I always thought it was.
So you know, so yeah, like I chalked it up to that. I was, because I was wondering, like, why is why is Europe so enamored with the Arabs? Why are people so who normally, for example, why do women who would sit on they would testify, like this Christy Blasey Ford woman, testified against the man who raped her, supposedly, allegedly, in college, and then the same women are totally cool with the behavior of these men, these Arab men, Muslim men, whatever. They don't call anything out. They don't call any, what do they call it? The honor killings, honor rapes, whatever you want to call it. Nothing. Whatever the Arab man does, totally cool.
I don't know if that's, I don't know if they like it.
They don't like it. They just don't say a word.
Right. They stay quiet, but they're not, they're not enamored.
No, they don't like it necessarily, but they
their masters tell them to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
Because,
dude, again, if a Christian did this,
no, the reason why, first of all, look, they don't hate, like, their primary enemy is white men who have Western values.
Yeah.
That's the enemy. Okay. And so they're not as concerned about barbarians who do that kind of thing because, they have this like superiority complex. They're like, those are our animals that we use. Those are our shock troops.
Yeah.
Right. When they're done doing their job, we're going to get rid of them too. That's what they think.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we kind of talked about that before.
Yeah.
But there are some women that they do like them. This is more of a rare thing. Okay. They like them. They actually they get into it.
Yeah.
Because I think, especially the most like militant kind of like man hater, right?
Yeah.
They are gonna be attracted to somebody who would upset their father.
Yeah.
They want to upset their father. Okay. And also the kind of guys who have the same belief system that they do are not attracted to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have this like conflict inside. They hate their father and they want to hurt their father's feelings. So they're attracted to a guy who, is who they think their father would hate. Right?
Yeah.
Like their father's racist, right? In their view. So he would get really mad if he saw his blonde daughter with with an Arab guy or a black guy or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one thing. And then they're so sick of the beta boys that they hang out with that on some level they are getting something from these barbarians, right?
Yeah.
They're getting some kind of masculinity from them.
Yeah.
And some of them get so addicted to it that it's like they would tolerate getting beaten.
Yeah.
Because at least they get the masculinity that but this is not something that they would admit though.
Yeah. I
speak from experience. Being one of these ladies, I understand exactly how they feel.
That's funny.
Now I'm just saying, I know ladies who fit this description personally. That's why I've seen this. Sad.
Sad. So sad. So sad.
Yeah. I'm looking over here. My brother, he just did a podcast apparently with Roger Stone.
Oh wow.
And who else was it?
This is where can I find this?
I'm looking at Getter. It says Dr. Zelenko with General Flynn, Roger Stone,
Wow.
and Attorney Renz.
Yeah. This is Stu Peters Network or something? Oh no, it's not Thrive Time Show, Reawakening versus the Great Reset. This thing, right?
Thrive Time Show, yeah.
Yeah, Flintstone and Attorney Runs, Biden giving sovereignty to WHO. What did Musk say? Interesting. Should check this out.
Yeah.
I should check this out. Let's see if we got any views on the let's see how many views we got on that interview that we did when we filled in for your brother. Oh wow, we got 1,000 views now. Over 1,000, almost 1,100 views on that one.
Oh, you mean on Lowell Joseph?
Yeah.
On Lionel Joseph.
No,
Lionel.
Lionel from the African Education Conference.
Yeah.
I know you.
I'm Lionel Joseph. Lionel.
I'm mixing up two skits. There's one where the guys see him. He says that the guys see him on the street. Eddie Murphy.
On the Haile Selassie Pavilion, right? There was the African student comes into the Haile Selassie Pavilion.
We had great fun at the pavilion. It's just like random. Dude, you have to know like Ethiopian history, like African history.
No.
Dude, do you understand how intelligent?
Haile Selassie, people knew Haile Selassie because good reggae was like big in the late 70s.
Yeah,
right?
early 80s.
About that, like.
But I'm saying like it's very specific. It's like an African education conference. It's very specific. It's very niche. This humor.
Well, you know who I would think probably would be more educated in that than Eddie Murphy? Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd knows everything.
Yeah. Dude, Eddie Murphy had a skit though on SNL. You know the skit I'm talking about, right?
Who?
Eddie Murphy had this one skit on SNL where he plays a Jamaican musician.
No, I didn't see that.
Dude, I'm gonna play this for you right now.
Dude, if it's 12 minutes long, I'm gonna get upset.
No. Ain't no.
We couldn't listen to I Got You Open for 4 minutes.
No. Yeah, here. This is actually hilarious. He had a character called Raheem Abdul Muhammad on horror, like movie review. But this, here. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I remember that. Kill the white
people. They invited him to like an Elks Club, you know, this band, and they didn't even know what they're in for. You know, it's a bunch of white people. And it's a reggae band. He comes on, he's just like, kill the white people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but buy my records first. Yeah, this is like 2 minutes long. I want to play this for you. Stupid ads. Washing our brains. Responding to a letter from a young fan, Eddie Murphy says that he actually loves white people, pointing out that he had a white maid growing up. That some white people, like actor Bill Bixby and Burl Ives.
I recently got a letter that I'd like to share with you people out there.
Can you hear it?
It says, Dear Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy, I'm 9 years old and I am your biggest fan. I like everything you do. The part I like best is when you say, kill my landlord and I hate the white people. When I grow up, I want to hate white people just like you. Signed, Troy Hewitt, Brooklyn, New York. Now, I hope Troy is watching tonight because I wanted to make something clear to him and all the other little kids around the country. When I say that I hate white people, I want to kill white people, do something like that, it's all done in fun and I don't mean anything by it. In fact, I'm very fond of white people, Troy. I want you to know that. When I was growing up, we had a white maid.
I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Made some great contributions to society. Did you know that a white man invented latex paint, Troy? It's true. consider the arts. There's some great white actors too, Troy, like Bill Bixby, Tony Franciosa, Rick Conde. Okay, those men are credits to their race. And what about music? I know I'm not the only black man, Troy, who likes to get my favorite lady to go home and sip some wine and make love to her to the music of Burl Ives. See the crack cone and I don't care. I'm telling you, I love white music and I love their food too. I don't know, every now and then I get this feeling I just have to go out and I go to a place like Elaine's or the Russian Tea Room just so I can get some good down home white cooking, you know what I mean? So it's like, every time you hear me talking about white people negatively, I mean nothing by it. It's all in fun. I want you to know that nobody loves white people the way I love white people, okay?
Hi, Eddie.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Is that a Burl Ives record you have on it? I love white people.
Anyway,
Is that it?
yes.
Dude, did you see, I posted something on Facebook today, right? It was a couple of videos.
Can you give me 1 second, man?
No.
Can you give me one second?
Okay, fine.
What were we saying? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
What were
Hell.
we saying?
What were we saying?
What were we saying?
Oh, man.
Huh.
I was saying that posted some stuff on Facebook. I'm trying to find it. So it's a couple of videos. Okay, the first one is there's basically it's a bunch of Haredim in Talis, right, on Shabbos, walking down a street in Jerusalem, and somebody's filming them just getting beaten by a group of Arabs. This happened like yesterday.
Yeah.
So I wrote to the Egyptian priesthood, Erev Rav, that controls the Israeli government. This is your legacy. This is your accomplishment. And then there's another video, the same type. This one Haredi guy with with his tefillin and his talis, right, just running through the streets, tripping, falling, getting beaten, people spitting, kicking on him like that. So this is the main accomplishment of the secular government of Israel. You can have all the national pride and military parades you want. You are pathetic. You have accomplished nothing. You are an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Well, just wanted to get some more.
But you know what the secular government would come back with you and say?
I don't give a shit what they would come back. I don't give a damn what they would say.
You know what they would say? They're like, no, this is what we don't. This image of this kind of Jew is why we exist, so that we can be strong and whatever and blah 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 blah.
Well, that's good. I mean, at the chuj.
It is true, Sabachi.
Okay, because this is a Jew. He's a citizen, an Israeli citizen, whom you are supposed to be protecting in the capital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, if you're going to say that the Jews are weak and and there's nothing that we can do about this, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. But we know that they can do it, right?
Yeah.
The fact that this is happening is deliberate. They're doing this on purpose. Okay? So I'm just here to tell them you're a bunch of fucking losers. There's nothing to be proud of you for, nothing. I don't care how nice the beach in Tel Aviv is, or how sexy the girls are, or how interesting and high tech. If you can't create an environment where a religious Jew can't walk down the street of Jerusalem in his tefillin, you are garbage.
Yeah. So some would say that what we're doing right now is talking, so to speak, doing what the spies did. I don't think that's true, though.
Some would say that we are. What were they saying?
No, like when you talk bad about supposedly bad about the government, it's almost like it's almost as if you're talking bad about the land. That's not true.
No, I'm not talking about the land. I'm talking about the losers who are making it impossible for a Jewish person who wants to who wants to observe the commandments. Right? And we know that they can do something about this, and they don't on purpose.
Yeah.
That's not talking bad about the land. It's talking bad about the Egyptian priesthood.
Well, man, every day I wake up and I look at, Israeli news sources, and I just pray that this government falls. But then I think to myself, what's going to replace it? The same crap, just that claims to be right wing. You know what I mean? I mean, at the very least, you have a guy in the opposition named Ben Gvir. I don't know if he's necessarily any kind of savior. I don't think he is. But at least it's something, I guess. I don't know. Or you could say, well, we're going to have the government that we would have, and to replace this one would be the most religious government Israel's ever had, or the modern state of Israel has ever had.
I wanted to say that everything good about Israel is because of just the people who are there in the location. Like if you go to a place, you see a village, you like it, it's pretty, it's pleasant, that's because the people themselves, the government is doo-doo. Okay, to quote Gene Wilder in Young Frankenstein.
Yo, hold on a second, man. Just 1 second. Yeah, sorry. Hello, you there?
I'm here, man. I'm here. You go to a nice restaurant in Tel Aviv, that's because the restaurant owners are nice.
Yeah.
It's not because the government did that. In fact, they probably did everything possible to interfere with it.
I know that for a fact because you know how like normal people or normal countries, even in the most like, I don't know, business unfriendly state in America, you open up an LLC, right? So you pay one fee, you pay a fee to open up the LLC, company, and that's it. That's it. You paid the fee, and that's it. And maybe I think, what was it? Once a year, you probably have to pay what, $50, $25 once a year, or something like that, just to report yourself. I know in Jersey it's like that. Dude, in Israel, you open up an LLC, equivalent to an LLC. You pay the fee to open the LLC, and then you have to pay a fee anywhere between $100 and $200 a month just to have it. Even if you're not doing anything with it, you have to pay at least $1,200, $1,500 a year just to have an LLC. Why? Lama.
Why? Because they can. That's why.
I just
Like Patrice O'Neill said. Like, so what the hell are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it's just intrusive. It's intrusive, and it's just, there's no reason. Like they're supposedly, I think Ayelet Shaked is talking about getting rid of that. She said she wants to open up like opportunities for people who want to start a business, because it's like you're being choked. Before you even began, you're being crushed before you even started.
I don't trust her at all.
I don't trust her. I'm just saying, like, stop. Dude, there are some people that you talk to and you ask them, like, why do we have this? You talk, like, business people themselves, like, like what I call people like the old guard of Israel, or guys who grew up in Israel, these guys who are today like in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, we have an army that we need to pay for, and we have this that we need to pay for. What a pile of bullshit. A giant steaming pile. You ask them, why do we have a crazy VAT tax for cars in Israel? Like 100% tax on
It's
buying
the
a
same
car.
thing as the Democrats. They're just,
Bullshit.
they're criminals. They steal money. They steal everything. There's parasites.
Yeah. Yeah.
Israel, your government is pure parasite. They're sucking everything good about your country. They're sucking the life out of it.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
looking to them. They're not your leaders.
And people give, they're like, we need to pay for this and we need to pay for, do you know Israel's a small country and Israel is this and Israel is that? What a bunch of, I've like listened to this guy tell me this and I was just like, I kind of like, sometimes like Israelis just are really good at like, when they say stuff, you kind of like, you ever see that Eddie Murphy skit where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
because they sound very knowledgeable and convincing. But then when you like think about it, when you actually take the time to think about what they said, wow, this guy really just convinced me of a pile of bullshit. He's really good. This Israeli's really good. These guys are they're really, dude. That's how I felt when I worked in one of these companies, like high tech. You argue with them about something, and you're right. Like that they don't know what they're talking about. You're right, but for some reason they're really good at convincing you of their position. Not only that, they want you to, they want you to battle them. They want you to argue with them. But it's just like they're so good at like sounding like they know what they're talking about, even though they don't. It's really like a mind f, it's like a brainwash kind of tactic.
Something just occurred to me. Israelis, why do they allow themselves to be ruled by the Erev Rav? Aside from everything that we've ever mentioned, we talked about, like the archives, right? We talked about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that the people who end up in office, right? This is amazing. They're lawyers. Now, when I say lawyers, I don't mean they're actual attorneys, but they have the
acumen.
They have the disposition of a lawyer, which means that they can do paperwork that's dry and mindless and mind-numbing, right? And they understand and they thrive in the bureaucratic rigmarole.
Yeah.
Right? And there's something about
they learned how to thrive.
Right. There's something about being in the Egyptian priesthood and being good at understanding a bunch of vague non-speak.
Yep.
Right? And how to navigate around that. And also they like it.
Yeah.
Not only can they navigate through forms and bureaucracies, they love it. They want to be part of it and they want to support it.
Yeah.
And most people can't do that. It's a weakness. Okay, so forms, the trauma of signing a form or dealing with forms and fees and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People would rather overpay and get stolen from.
Yeah.
As long as they don't have to do that.
Yeah, pay another guy to do it for them, or just pay because for the government to get off their ass, for the government to get off their back.
Right.
Just leave me alone. Just give me this piece of paper so I can live, so I can do this, so I can, I don't know, whatever. Go here, go there, work here. Like, dude, that's the first thing I like kind of learned when I first moved to Israel. Like, listen,
that's what one of our listeners, nice lady, is dealing with right now.
Dude, they're dealing with like conversions and stuff. It's like insane. And it's one thing if it's like, when rabbis tell you something and that, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So it's one thing when rabbis tell you something and they're like, they tell you, yeah, this is what you need, people like make these promises, and then you find out after wasting all this time and energy and money that you don't have the proper paperwork, you don't have the proper approvals that you needed.
Yeah.
This is not the first story I heard like this, in Israel. It's just, and they say, the Gemara, what is it? Israel is acquired with Yisurim, with trials. But like, is this one of the ways? You know what I mean?
Yes, of course it is. Rabbi Kessin said that if you were to reach into your pocket because you want to pull out a quarter and you pull out a nickel, that also counts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, every little bit of suffering or inconvenience, unpleasantness of any kind counts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it has to be something like that, I mean, you know, bureaucratic rigmarole is not the worst. It's not the worst of what can happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the worst. It could be worse things.
Yeah.
But, what else, sir?
I don't know. Oh yeah, Joe Rogan. Can we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah. About his
Explain to the folks at home.
basically Joe Rogan had a guest on, and they were talking. There's a clip they were talking about this whole UFO thing, and Rogan's like a weirdo because he just kowtows to the. It seems like this is what he does. He like kowtows to kind of like the opinion of the person
Yeah,
of his guest.
he changes to whoever.
Yeah, he's like a chameleon. He just like agrees with whoever comes on the show. You know, and then like this guy comes on, and this guy who doesn't know anything about these Tic Tacs, some guy goes, yeah, it could just be like technology that was, you know, created by the Pentagon. And Rogan's like, yeah, you know, like hypersonic, whatever it is.
Hypersonic missiles.
And everybody in the comments are like, this guy, the guy who's, you know, his guest, has no idea what he's talking about, and Rogan is just going along with him. Like the guy literally has no idea. He literally has no clue about this whole situation.
Right.
Like you might as well be talking to Rabbi Kessin Lahavdil, but like at least Rabbi Kessin doesn't, you know, it's like he doesn't come and say, yeah, it's probably. He said, I don't know what it is. You know.
Yeah. You know, the fact that Rogan was so like cooperative with him and kind of like almost like immediately on board makes me think that this was like something that was deliberate. Can I give the folks at home like 2 seconds of background?
Sure.
Okay, so folks at home, we are operating within the framework of the narrative. Now, do I really know? Can I absolutely prove that what these soldiers, these Navy pilots, and everybody, all of these people who came forward for the last 75 years, the highest credibility people, can I prove that they're all telling the truth and that this isn't some kind of like really, really, really long planned out psyop? No, I can't prove that. It just seems far-fetched that such an elaborate psyop, you know, that takes 75 years to unfold, right? It doesn't seem like something that anybody would do for, you know, there's no clear reason why that would be the case. I mean, you know, like the reason why somebody would want to do a psyop like that is crazier than having visitors from outer space. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like if you have to compare those two, which one is more far-fetched, you know, then so okay, so I just wanted to state for the record, like I've never seen a UFO, I've never experienced one. I'm going by the testimony of people who I trust.
Yeah.
Okay, and you trust them too by agreeing to let them, you know, have their fingers on on a button that will blow up the world.
Yeah.
Okay, and they've been saying this for like for at least 75 years. You know, with all the most credible people.
Yeah.
So that's the main problem with what Rogan was saying. Like, if it's a hypersonic missile that, which can do all that kind of stuff. So here's what we're talking about. Imagine flying some kind of aircraft or any kind of vehicle, right? And it's like you go from absolute stop to like 35,000 miles an hour instantaneously.
Yeah.
Okay, that's impossible according to physics.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff that they're seeing. And also, while you're flying, let's say you want to make an instant 90-degree turn. That's also impossible. The craft would explode. Any normal conventional craft which follows physics would explode. Okay, so fine. You want to say that America has been having technology that can do stuff like this, which breaks the laws of our known physics, and it's had it for 75 years, right?
Yeah.
And you're telling me that they were so magnanimous that they didn't use it against their enemies to dominate the whole earth with this technology? So you're telling me that America has these incredible engineers, they're such geniuses that they're thousands of years ahead of their time, and they're not using it at all to either improve the world or for some kind of selfish, which is more likely, some kind of selfish, purpose to enslave everyone that they can enslave. I mean, that's human nature. So it's a very far-fetched idea, and within the framework of the story. That's all I'm saying. Does that make sense, or is that too incoherent?
No, it makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
So they're having these hearings on Tuesday. First, talked about it yesterday, so I just.
Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing about Joe Rogan. I was telling you before, remember how like Rabbi Kessin, what he said about Netanyahu?
Yeah.
Said that Netanyahu he was like not the worst of the Erev Rav,
Yeah.
right? Perhaps the best, but he screwed up. He screwed up big time, because he had the opportunity to promote Torah study in Israel. Now that doesn't mean coercion to become religious or to do mitzvot, but he had the opportunity to, or at least give the option for students in places like Tel Aviv, right, in the public schools, in the secular public schools, to at least give them the option to learn about Torah, or to learn Tanakh, or to learn Jewish history, or anything Jewish. He failed. Netanyahu failed to do that. Okay, and all the time that he was in Israel, he had the opportunity and he didn't do it. So that was like an unforgivable failure. This is like basically what Rabbi Kessin was saying, or that was his general attitude.
Yeah.
Now Joe Rogan is the Netanyahu of podcasts.
Yeah.
Because he has a gigantic platform, one of the, if not the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity to have my brother on. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, oh, he's talking about his brother, because it's his brother.
Yeah.
The only reason why I think it would be valuable to have my brother on is because my brother can give people the information that they need to save their lives and to avoid things that are poisonous to them.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's the one who innovated, and everybody else jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And Rogan had only the bandwagon people, but not the guy who originated it. And it's been more than 2 years now, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Rogan should have had him on in like May or June of 2020.
It's very strange. Why?
And what those clips that you sent me today reminded me of who Joe Rogan is.
Yeah.
I've been telling you, right? Like, that's who he is.
Yeah. He's just like
at this point, I would actually, like, if my brother would even listen to me, I doubt he would, but I would advise him not to go on Rogan, even if it's an option.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's useless. He's outlived his usefulness. He wasted it. He had the chance to save life and to spread truth in the world, and he decided to do what he did.
Yeah. For sure.
Dude, why can't I hear you? You're like really low.
Can you hear me now?
You sound like you're far away.
Really?
Can you like up the volume?
I'm here, yeah. No, the volume's all the way up.
It's all the way up on my computer too. I just don't know why it's so low.
I don't know. I do not know.
I don't know.
Oh, oh, oh,
That was the Israeli prime minister, right? I don't know.
I know. I'll take a look. Oh, it's
Who was
a
that?
name. I'll take a look. It's
That was Shamir, right?
yeah. It is Shamir. Yes, my friend. That would be Shamir. Yeah.
When we've done Zoom before, it was like significantly louder. Not sure why.
I don't know. I don't know why it's so quiet. I know not, sir. But, so where do we go from here?
I don't know. I don't know anything.
I don't know, man. It sounds like Mike Tyson. I don't know, man. Yeah. What? Assalamu alaikum. He's like, I just know what I could do. I don't know, man.
It'd be cool, man. Imagine like I have like, skits in my like daydreams, right? Like about being the heavyweight champion of the world. Mike Tyson's my trainer. He's all old. He got a like a gray beard now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Hilarious.
And the music's playing in the background. The montage. Like that. I think he would be an amazing trainer.
He would be.
I think he wants to. Like I saw this video that he did like just a couple of days ago. It was in response to like some like heavyweight fight between two white boys actually.
Yeah. Yo,
Canolo.
Can you hold on just 1 second? I need to just bring something. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So you were saying about Tyson.
Yeah, man. It's like you want the champ, the greatest, to be your trainer, so you become the greatest, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he made a video, and he was saying like the reason why Canelo, or I can't remember the guy's name. Canelo, right? He's like he goes, it's the jab. He goes, he wasn't working on his jab, and then he was showing him, right? He's like, dude, what is he, mid-50s?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he slowed down at all. He looks exactly the way he did when he was a kid.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He stayed in shape. Like you saw him, like he has this like white beard now, right?
Tyson?
Mike Tyson, yeah.
Oh.
And he has a podcast, which actually is a very popular podcast.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him, I think it was William Shatner. He asked him, why do you have the beard? He goes, because I don't want to be handsome. Like I'm married. I don't need to be handsome. I don't need to have women, attracted to me. I just want to have a peaceful life.
It's really funny. It's mad fun. Just want to have a peaceful life.
Just want to have a peaceful life, yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm at the point where like.
There he is.
What?
Remember Damon Wayans? He's like, there he is. Come here, Mr. Funny Man. Come here. You think you're funny man? You think you're funny?
Yeah. What the hell?
He goes, if I see you doing any more, that's kind of tough, funny man. I'm gonna design a punch that'll make your liver bleed.
Weird. That's really funny.
Yeah, I agree. Greg, your mind is drawing a blank.
It is drawing a blank. I don't know.
Folks at home are not happy right now.
Not happy.
Not happy. I'm worried. Makes me anxious that when we can't come up with stuff, you know? Like there's so much going on and we can't come up with nothing. All right, you know what? Let's look at the headlines. I'm sure that'll evoke
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, you should.
All right, Gateway Pundit, here we go.
Mhm.
Show me something. Okay, exclusive. The Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes, releases first statement from Alexandria prison
Mhm.
to the Gateway Pundit. Okay, feds are threatening life in prison. Wow. God, unbelievable. California man arrested for disrupting Stop Asian Hate rally and yelling, "Go back to China." California man. Let me see what this California man looks like. Come on, show. Oh, Steve Lee Dominguez, 56, was arrested on Thursday and charged with 2 counts of bias-motivated interference with federal protected activities. But the incident took place last year. All right.
Dude, America is like some of these when you'll read some of these headlines and it's just like you wonder how people like I don't know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like Florida, you read some of the stuff from Florida. It's just insane. Why does Florida have the craziest headlines?
They don't.
What's wrong with Florida?
There's nothing wrong with Florida. Remember who writes these headlines? They hate Florida
Yeah,
because Florida is everything that they hate,
I wish they could be.
right? Beautiful weather, right? Sexy, in shape people,
Yeah.
right? Low taxes,
Mhm.
free speech, Second Amendment,
Yeah.
right? Everything that they hate. Florida is like target number one to the commies,
Yeah.
right? Because the reason is because as long as they exist, people can go there and see that everything that the commies are saying is complete horse pucky. I'm trying to be nice now. You ever heard that before? Horse pucky? I don't know who said that, but it's funny. Okay. That's why. Breaking, Senator Rand Paul stalls uniparty bill giving $40 billion in more funding to Ukraine. All right, that's good. He stalled it. Okay. Technofog, Fusion GPS loses fight to keep privileged documents from Special Prosecutor John Durham. I don't know. I want to see the group of law enforcement officers that are going to enforce whatever laws are broken. Okay, that's after the whole John Durham thing comes out, and 10,000 years after Mashiach comes. Huge fire, by the way, in California, right? Laguna Niguel. That's the name of the place. Laguna Niguel.
Laguna Niguel. Yeah.
It's Niguel. All right, let's see now. Yeah, did you watch this movie 2000 Mules?
Is what?
Have you seen 2000 Mules?
No, I've seen part of it.
I haven't seen it at all. I'm
I
gonna
don't know,
watch it.
It's always like they're gonna what is it called? They're going to they're always gonna refute it. All these leftists.
They're not gonna refute it. They're just gonna slime it. That's all. They don't refute anything. They can't refute nothing. They're gonna refute.
They're just gonna they're gonna make it sound, they're gonna make it sound crazy. That's what they're going to do. That is what they're
Okay.
going to do.
All right. I see that this episode is gonna need a little bit of editing.
Yeah.
Couple of low points here. Okay, it's
Oh.
fine. It's fine. We're gonna pull this up. We're gonna figure it out. You and me, Greg. We're gonna figure this out.
Yes.
Elon Musk points out Joe Biden's mistake, says Republicans need less divisive candidate in 2024. Oh boy. I think I see where this is going.
Oh man. I'm telling you, it's just it's so.
Oh dude. Oh,
What's
where
wrong
is
with
it?
these people?
Where is it? Where is it?
What's wrong with them?
Dude, there's a verse in Isaiah. I think it's in Isaiah or Zechariah, I'm not sure, where it talks about um, the it talks about Esav getting judged and the house of Esav being destroyed.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
which is a complex idea because not all of Esav gets destroyed. Like a big chunk of Esav gets elevated, but then it's not the house of Esav anymore. Esav joins with Israel, the house of Israel.
Yeah.
Right? It's like he comes back into the family, right? So you don't need this term, the house of Esav anymore.
Yeah.
But the wording there is God is saying, he goes, you can make your, and I'm paraphrasing, you can make your fortifications, as high as the eagle's nest or in the stars of the heavens themselves. But you will be judged regardless of where you go. Which is a very odd wording. Like, how would you interpret that? Where does your mind automatically go when you hear, even if you make your fortifications in the stars of the heavens? Like, how would you interpret that? Like, just
Probably
first-
typically in the
like my mind naturally would go to,
face.
no, it's just being flowery, like basically he's saying you can go to the end of like the universe. You're not going to escape from me. That's how I would interpret it normally. And I think most people would. Right?
Yeah.
But it's funny that we have like this guy Musk, right? Clearly Asav, okay? Where does he want to go? He wants to go make a fortification in the stars of the heavens, right?
Crazy, man. It's really crazy.
Right? Dude, I saw the other day, they're saying that there's a space hotel that's going to be open for business in 2024. Like that must mean that it's mostly built by now already. So you have Musk who wants to go and set up a colony on Mars and who's leaving soon apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a space hotel. Like I think that this verse talking about judging Mount Asav, right, can be, even at this point, can be taken literally.
Yeah.
He's basically saying like you could try to escape Earth, you're not going to escape me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
It's crazy.
Hey, can I read? The questions that I prepared for the rabbi.
Yes.
By the way, did he mention when? Did he say when yet?
No, he did not.
He did not. Right.
He did not.
So we're God willing gonna have an interview on our other show.
Yeah.
We're gonna interview a very special rabbi, Rabbi Isser Zalman Weisberg.
Yeah.
God willing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. He asked us to prepare some questions for him. I wanted to read the questions to you guys, and if anybody, whoever's listening, if you had any questions that you might want to add, put them in the comments section, right? Like if anybody is familiar with this rabbi and the things that he says, you might want to, if you had a curiosity. So, but I'm going to read the questions because just in case your question overlaps with something I asked him already, so you'll know. Okay. Okay. So, can I do it? I didn't get your approval.
Please, yeah.
All right. Okay, so these are the proposed questions to the rabbi. So it says, Rabbi, you mentioned in your first video on YouTube that mystics have already taught that the soul of Mashiach will descend into the world 1,290 years after the offensive abomination is put on the Temple Mount, right? As it says in Daniel, right? And he will, and then he will redeem us before 1,335 years has elapsed since the building of that same abomination. My question is, who are the sources that taught this? Okay. And then I continue. In your second video on YouTube, you mentioned that in December 1982, the Lubavitcher Rebbe instructed your friend Michal Zelikson that the Kates has arrived. Kates is the Hebrew word for the end time.
Yeah.
Also, it's used, the same word is used for summer. So, okay, so again, so this information was derived from one of the psukim in Tanakh, which you later determined to be a pasuk from Sefer Daniel, the Daniel. So where was Michal Zelikson instructed to publicize this? Okay, Rabbi, you mentioned that the Rebbe explained the words in the first verse of Daniel, chapter 12, which this is only a part of that pasuk, of that verse. It says, at the time your people will be rescued, all who are found inscribed in the book. And the Rebbe interpreted that to mean that each Jewish person should have a letter inscribed for themselves, or someone should inscribe it for them in a Torah scroll. And this led to the Torah scroll campaign with the Rebbe. He tried to get enough Torah scrolls written up that every Jewish person in the world has a letter that would represent them in it. Okay, so question is, where did the Rebbe instruct Michal Zelikson to publicize this this interpretation? Okay. Now, Rabbi, you are familiar with the statements of the Zohar that state two opinions from Tanaim. One holds that Mashiach must come 210 years before the year 6000, and the other holds it will be 214 years before the year 6000. Is there a consensus among the rabbis that Mashiach must come at least 214 or 210 years before the year 6000? Okay. So have you heard of anybody besides the Rambam who says that this isn't required? Greg, do you remember when we were reading Rabbi Winston's book?
Yeah.
He mentioned that the Rambam was the only one who didn't necessarily hold by this.
Yeah.
But you know what? We should have Rabbi Winston on, if we can, to discuss just this one topic, like this last question that I wrote, like if possible. Do you think it's possible?
I can try to get him on, yeah.
You ever talked to him before?
I have never talked to him personally. I went to one of his shurim a long time ago, but I've never actually spoken to him.
Maybe he could shed more light on, what he learned about the Rambam and why he stated that.
Yeah.
I think I would be fascinated.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on. Is there a consensus among the rabbis that Mashiach must come at least 214 years or 210 years before the year 6000? Because that's the date the resurrection of the dead will begin. Have you heard of anybody besides the Rambam who says that this isn't required? So Rabbi Winston said it's only the Rambam, but just curious to see what Rabbi Weisberg would say. Okay, so moving on. When I've spoken to rabbis about this idea from the Gemara that the world will exist only until 6,000 years, right? I've noticed a tension that all of a sudden like manifests itself during the conversation. Okay, it gets more tense when I bring up the idea of Mashiach coming more than 200 years before the year 6,000, right? And I think this tension arises because they are worried that if it doesn't happen by that date, right, then they and the Jewish people will be so disappointed that it would be a letdown too difficult to bear. Okay? And I think they're worried that it might create questions like, did Hashem change his mind about redeeming us? Or, even though that's absurd, but people have questions like that. Or is the Gemara wrong, possibly, right? Or are the rabbis not reliable in their ability to transmit the tradition, right? So all of those are are pretty rough questions. So basically, do you have any of the above concerns? If not, do you have other concerns that I didn't mention? Okay, so so basically, and here's some topics that I want to talk to him about. So the following aren't questions per se, but I would like to hear your opinion on the following, if you're comfortable. I've heard from a Rabbi Alexander Hool, right, who was on the Kiddush Club podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, the last episode. Recommend check out their podcast. Pretty cool. I've heard from Rabbi Alexander Hool that based on the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 14, and chapter 8, verse 26, right, which is dealing with a number that's mentioned there, 2,300. Okay, it's mentioned in verse 14 of chapter 8, and it says, and it uses the wording evening, morning, boker or erev boker, like that's in Hebrew, right? It uses that wording in the verses, which he connects to Nehemiah, when Nehemiah was building the wall of Jerusalem, right? So apparently, the evening and the morning refers to the sorting out process. In other words, when the Jews returned from Babylon, all right, to right as the second temple was being built, right, they were returning from exile. There needed to be a sorting out process of pedigree, meaning like who was a priest, who was a Kohen, and who was a Levite, and who was a Yisrael. Okay, so this sorting process is connected to these two words, evening and morning, because boker means distinction, and erev, which means evening, also means mixing. Okay, whatever. Okay. Okay, so now because this kind of sorting process was occurring during the time that the wall of Jerusalem was being built, right? So if you take 2,300, right, and you say that that's years, if you take 2,300 years from the year that the Jerusalem wall was built,
yeah,
okay, you get the year 2027, which is the same figure that the rabbi came up with,
yeah,
in his calculation. So, all right, I'm gonna. Okay, here's an interesting one. Rabbi, I believe that your prediction about Donald Trump becoming president and having 4 more years to do his work did turn out to be very true, just not as we all expected. I would like the opportunity to briefly share my thoughts about this during the interview, if you would be comfortable with that. Basically, in summary, Trump right now is doing things that he probably wouldn't be able to do if he was president.
yeah.
Like right now, he's getting his candidates elected, his governors, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's installing his people, and he's essentially voting out the rhinos.
Yeah.
Okay. So if his people are installed, then maybe we could have possibly a real election process. Okay. And and so that's how he's draining the swamp.
Yeah.
If he was president, remember, he couldn't really drain the swamp that much because he had to work with these people to get deals done, right? To get certain things accomplished. Yeah. And also, he revealed that we don't have a real government. The fact that he got elected, the fact that so many tens of millions showed up to vote for him, and they still showed up in the tens of thousands during his rallies, right? So he seems to be the person with the most political clout and influence. Okay, and also he's involved in lawsuits right now against big tech. Okay, and also he's building platforms that are competing and fighting against Twitter, right, and Facebook and stuff like that. All of these things he wouldn't be able to do as, in the White House, sitting in the White House. And these are the most important things that need to be done, right? You got to get rid of the rhinos, and you got to fight. You got to create platforms where information can be shared. He wouldn't be able to do that as a conventional president.
Dude, the only issue I have with this is we're falling into the, not the trap, but the whole mindset of we can constantly, it's kind of like we can burla this whole thing. You know what I mean? We can constantly move the goalposts of however we want to interpret what happens. Because dude, listen, during this whole thing, I was, listening to Rabbi Weisberg, basically from November 2020 until January 6th, I was listening to Rabbi Weisberg, and he kept saying how, like, there's going to be, like, a miracle.
Right.
There'll be a turnaround.
Right.
And a lot of people were, like, what the heck, Rabbi? Same thing, I think Rabbi Kessin also got a lot of flack, So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we can now say, like, well, look what Trump is doing, and this is what he's doing, and I guess it's and I guess it's Hashgacha Pratis, and Hashem just kind of whatever it is. But
So by you saying that we have to watch out to not fall into that trap, I
yeah,
feel like you're saying I fell into the trap.
I don't know if you fell into the trap necessarily, but I don't
Because
know.
anything I say now is going to sound overly defensive and like I'm,
No. It's not even defensive. It's just
I can tell you that I do take measures like to to stay in touch with reality.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've been kind of like thinking about for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
And initially I was very disappointed. I knew this whole thing about Trump getting reelected, as president, that wasn't the main part of his message.
Yeah.
His message was about the information that's encoded in the book of Daniel. That is, that's undeniable. That's there. Those numbers are written. That's
yeah.
Okay. It really kind of adds up, and it also coincides with many other opinions that already exist.
Yeah.
And it all seems to fall on 2027 or before.
Yeah.
So that's Rabbi Weisberg's main message. Some of the side stuff that he said was, I kind of wish he wouldn't have done it. I wish that, and I was disappointed. But so what I'm focusing on right now is, he said, what Rabbi Weisberg actually said was not really that Trump becomes president per se. He said that. That wasn't the main part of it. He said that Donald Trump gets 4 more years to finish the work that needs to be done. You hear what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
That's actually that was the main part of what he said. Like, let's say if Donald Trump, he was like, he would have said, you know what, F this. I don't need to deal with this nonsense. I'm going to Scotland, right, to Turnberry, and I'm gonna play golf until this whole thing blows over.
Yeah.
Then then I could say, Rabbi Weisberg, you were flat wrong. Okay, but Trump is obviously far more active than Biden. Biden is barely functioning. He's barely standing up. Okay. Trump didn't become the president in the conventional sense. You know why? Because there is no president anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That Biden is not the president either.
I get it. There is no such position.
There's no such position as president. We don't have a real government. Okay. And Trump exposed that. Okay. So once you expose that the system is theater, that it's fake,
yeah,
right? You can't go back to being the president of a fake theater.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of being a legitimate president, right? Like the closest thing that we have to a legitimate president is Trump, because he was elected by the majority of people. The vast majority of people in the States, they voted for him. They got off their asses and they literally said, that man is our leader. Okay, so we have an elected leader, we have a chosen leader, and he's acting as such in whatever capacity he's able to. Okay, we don't even know the full extent of his influence. I don't want to go into the QAnon, crowd. I'm not really, I'm not sure about the white hats and the black hats and that whole crew. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Okay, I tend to kind of be doubtful about that. Okay, because they have him as like, God Emperor Trump, all powerful,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly there, but he does have some interesting things like Space Force, mysterious Space Force that he started and he's very connected to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're always doing something behind the scenes. Not sure what. I think that's interesting. I'm not saying anything specific about that. Okay, but in terms of his political influence and his political activities, they are prolific. Everybody that he supports gets elected. Okay, he's like Midas. He got the Midas touch. Remember that commercial, the Midas touch?
Yeah.
Right? Whatever he touches or whoever he blesses, they get elected. Okay, that's I don't know how much more powerful you can be. Okay, so look what he's doing. I'm just going to say it again. He's doing work that's absolutely needs to be done, and he most likely couldn't do it in the original position that he was in. Now, here's another thing. If you paid attention to his first term in office, it was awful, horrible.
Yeah.
He was so encumbered. He was surrounded by snakes. He was in a snake pit the whole time, getting bit. Everyone around him, they were sabotaging everything he was doing. He got a tremendous amount of things accomplished, but it got, the more he accomplished, the more pushback he got, right? So it could be that he got to such a level, he pissed them off, he irritated the establishment to such an extent that he wouldn't be able to operate at all in the second term.
Yeah.
The only way that anybody, or let's say he himself, right, becomes president in 2024 or sooner, whatever, right? The only way that anybody normal would ever be able to operate is if you have to get all these people out of there, right? And you can't do that as president because you're going to look like a tyrant, because half of America is stupid. They're going to just believe whatever the news says. They're going to just succumb to their emotions, right? They're going to see Trump. He's putting people in jail, most of whom supposed to be in jail because they're criminals, career criminals, right? But if you get them out of office first and you get your guys in, then you clear the way for a better tomorrow.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so all I'm saying, and I don't think it's like the details themselves are undeniable, right? He's certainly doing things that he couldn't do if he was president. The things that he's doing have to be done. He was the elected leader, okay? And the way our government is functioning now proves that we don't actually function in government anymore. So whatever we do have, right? We have a sentiment. We communicated to God. How come America is not falling apart right now, right? We have a proven false government. Okay? And yet somehow, like Israel, like the way you talk about Israel, somehow it still kind of continues on.
It's a miracle. Yeah.
Miraculously, right? So how does that happen?
Not a clue.
I think it's because the American people communicated to God. They got up their ass and they said, we want him. We want the guy who doesn't want us to get rid of you, God.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, God is kind of propping us up.
He's giving it hope, giving it a chance.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't have a government. Forget about president. We don't have a government, but we do have a leader.
Yeah.
We chose him, right? We voted for him.
Yeah.
And he's working. He's doing.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he's doing is not extracurricular. It is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective. Okay. So call that what you will. You could still say, the rabbi was wrong. But we have, we have a leader. He's doing the stuff that needs to be done, and I call that a president.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that think that what he's doing is extracurricular activity. They don't realize that he's like, positioning things. Like they don't understand. They don't get it. Trump doesn't do things just to do them. You know what I mean? All you have to do is read, what's it called? Read Art of the Deal. Not to say he's like a super duper genius, but he doesn't do things just to do them.
Yeah, no, that guy.
Everything is basically, you could say, for better or worse, everything is calculated on his end. Everything is very carefully calculated.
Listen, people don't like to hear this, but he is a smart man.
What does he say? I'm a stable. What did he call himself? Stable genius or something?
I don't know.
There's like a term that he used. Yeah, a very stable genius.
Stable
Here. I'm Trump. Here, this is his phrase about himself.
Dude, is this still on Facebook?
It's the what?
Is this
Yeah,
on
it is,
Facebook?
it is, yeah, a very stable genius. Donald Trump's testing of America. Yeah, the title refers to a phrase Trump has repeatedly used to describe himself starting in January 2018, when a book, Fire and Fury, raised questions about his mental stability. Responding in a series of tweets, he said, "Actually, throughout my life, my two greatest assets have been mental stability and being like really smart, and that his achievements in life qualify him as not smart, but genius, and a very stable genius at that." He continued to describe himself as a very stable genius on multiple subsequent occasions. I would say that that's the case. What do you think?
I think I would agree, and I think I can interpret what he means by stable genius.
Yeah.
Because remember, this guy is from New York.
Yeah.
Okay, and he talks something called New York shorthand.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Real estate guy talk.
yeah, like really, like the terms they sound a little bit childish, but they mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
To important people. Like it's not simple.
Yeah.
So basically, when he says stable genius, it reminds me a lot of, I'm going to use martial arts as a good example.
Yeah.
The best martial artists know how to keep it simple. They learn the fundamentals of the movements really, really, really well. Yeah. And they keep themselves really, really calm. They get into the right headspace. And they know that most people, when they get into a confrontation, they panic and they start doing too much. And it's unfocused. And an experienced martial artist will do very little, but it'll be strictly textbook.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't know, is that the most successful people are the ones who they follow the principles over and over and over again. They don't deviate from them. Yeah. And Trump recognized a series of principles that he closely follows. You could read it in The Art of the Deal, I would imagine. I never read the book, but I'm just going by my personal observations of his behavior and the things that he says and the decisions that, the way that he behaves. There's a pattern that he sticks to, that he's very, very confident in. Losers, or people who panic, they kind of abandon the principles that they used, right? Or they lose faith in them, and then they decide to get desperate and do something, and that's when mistakes happen. So a stable genius is somebody who he could just stick to the basics.
Yep.
Without diverting and without panicking.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was more like, sometimes you think of, like the beautiful mind, where people who are geniuses are just unstable people. It's not unstable, just unstable. And it's difficult for them to operate in a, it would be difficult for them to, like, for example, operate in the world of like real estate, the world of, dealing with all kinds of shady characters. Because they're geniuses. They're like in academia. They're again, it's like a beautiful mind. It's like they're not good with people. They're good with machines, or they're good with numbers, or they're good with, like a chalkboard, or some sort of, whatever. They're good with inanimate objects. They're not good with people. But this guy happens to be that he's good with people.
Yeah, he is.
He knows how to, again, I'm going to use the word manipulate in just a general sense. I don't mean like, it could be negative connotation, it could be positive connotation, but he knows how to get what he wants out of any situation.
You know what I want to see, I want to run this by you. I want to see how you think about this. Like even when he's mean to somebody, right? Or he's hitting back at somebody, right?
Yeah.
He never overdoes it. And he never gets like obscene.
Yeah.
He always kind of keeps it kind of like,
it's like one punch and then step away.
No, but even that punch is kind of like a PG thing, like Little Marco.
Yeah.
Sleepy Jeb Bush, low energy Jeb Bush, right?
It's like, whoop-de-doo,
Right. I was just saying it's very mild, actually.
It's enough to sting, but not enough to like. It's not enough for them to like, Jeb Bush to come up to him and punch him in the face.
Right. And if you notice that everybody who attacks him, right, they become spazzes, and they start saying like really mean, horrible things.
Yeah, they're like, well, it's like what's his name, the guy, Brick Tamlin from Ron Burgundy. Well, you got that at the toilet store. Like he forced them into saying something just like out of character and stupid. Like they can't even come up with anything because they're not used to doing that.
No, but you see, this is what they end up doing. Like he'll say like,
You go to the toilet store.
He'll say like, he'll say something like Little Marco, he's sweaty, something like that, right? Or Alfred E. Newman to Butt Egg, right?
Yeah.
And people like Butt Egg or somebody like that, they'll say something horrible. Like, dude, the stuff that they said about him, they're like, they're like, Trump wants to have sex with his daughter.
Yeah.
Or, I hope his kid gets caged up like an animal.
It's almost like Trump, imagine like a I don't know, a 10-year-old hurling an insult at an adult, and then an adult comes back with like, hey, 10-year-old, you're like a pervert, and you want to like have sex with your sister or something.
Yeah, Trump will say like,
he's like a little kid.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you little snot, and then the little kid will be like, fuck you, man, I'm gonna kill everybody, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And who ends up on top? It's like the guy who gets crazy and says all the craziest stuff is the loser. He loses that exchange. Yeah. Trump stays normal, and he stays out of the evil. If you notice that,
yeah.
Even when he's fighting back, somehow he doesn't step foot into the shadow realm.
He doesn't.
I've never seen it once. The darkest thing that he's ever said is to Hillary. He's like, yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Yeah.
And that's not even dark. That's just that needs to be.
That's just a statement of fact. If anything. It's not even that dark.
So that's a lesson for us and for the folks at home. Like if you get, somebody is like, if you're dealing with like foaming at the mouth, that's lunatics, right? who are saying the most horrible possible things, you know, that you can imagine, right? Like stuff that like, I don't know, like I don't think I could take it, you know, like I would be like a Gruzian, you know, like say, я возьму кинжал и зарежу, знаешь?
Yeah.
Like Trump can kind of, he can take it, you know, he can just kind of like roll with it, and then he'll respond with something kind of like PG.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of his powers.
Yeah.
Right? Like he doesn't get dark, doesn't go to the dark side. No going to the dark side.
No, yeah, Merlot. I'm not having any freaking Merlot.
If the girls want to drink Merlot, we're gonna drink. I'm not having any fucking Merlot.
Yeah. Miles, don't go to the dark side on me, Miles.
No going to the dark side. All right.
What a great movie. What a
That
fantastic-
really is a great movie, you know?
It's like, I remember seeing it, and I'm like, this movie,
I love Paul Giamatti. I really don't want to know his politics.
Yeah.
You know why? I want to stay loving him.
that's the thing, man. Like, I always knew that a lot of these actors have whacked out politics, but I never really cared why, because they just, you know, it's like shut up and dribble. You know, they always just acted and they did their thing, and that was basically it. You know, as long as they were doing that, I'm fine. And even with their stupid messages in their movies, where they're trying to succinctly, you know, push whatever agenda, you know, they did this over the years. Obviously, it was not so obvious. I don't know, even like 10 or 15 years ago, it wasn't obvious what they were doing. Now you look back and you realize that there was a whole trajectory, you know, how they were springing certain messages. How, you know, how men are supposed to act, how women are supposed to act, how, you know, what are we supposed to think about this issue, that issue. Even that was like fine, you know, Daenu, you know, as long as the actor themselves in real life didn't come out and every 2 seconds pontificate about their stuff, or, you know, every time they got an award, yak about trans this and trans that, you know, the Trans-Siberian Railroad. That's all I like
Something about what you said just now sparked something in my head, which I have to say.
Okay.
But I'll say it when I come back after these messages. Okay.
Which is what?
I have to go pee. I'll be right back.
Already.
Sing for the folks at home while I'm peeing.
Oh, I'm just gonna pause the recording. That's what I'm gonna. But yes. All right.
Okay. I can't remember if it was the last conversation or the one before. We were talking about the gentleman that we spoke to on Laurel Joseph's, you know, we're discussing about conservative Judaism.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, I was re-listening to that part today, and there was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think there was.
Yeah. So basically, I brought him up in the context of, like, because he mentioned something about his daughter, right?
Yeah.
He's like, you know, I want people to know that, you know, you can be Jewish and connected to God and Torah, but, you know, like you can like my daughter, you know, you could still go horseback riding and jet skiing and be involved in all these activities, right? Okay. So then I continued saying that, and then, you know, I don't remember how I got to this point, but then I was talking about the type of person who has a similar mindset, but even more extreme than that, where, you know, they wouldn't want, the reason why they don't want to commit fully to Torah is because, you know, they don't want bikinis to go away. You know, they don't want that kind of like modern independence and all that. They're attached to it, right? And then I said, you know, aimed at that kind of person, right? I called them, you know, a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily see how someone would think I was talking about that guy that I started out talking about. You know, I didn't make any distinction.
Yeah.
But when I, you know, as I went forward, I mentioned that gentleman, then I talked about his daughter, and then I kept building on it to a certain type of person, right?
Yeah.
at that point, I was already talking about a general category of people. I was not talking about that individual.
Yeah.
I doubt that he listens to us.
Yeah.
He barely listened to us
But
when we were
no, it's
when we were talking to him.
It's a
but-
Jew, and you know. Yeah.
Right, but if he happened, right, then I would feel very, very not good if he thought that I was talking about him. That just wouldn't be nice at all. I wouldn't feel good about that because I wasn't talking about him. He's actually kind of a sweet guy, I think. And I certainly,
That's good.
I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
were you going to say something?
no. You were saying something before you left. You talking about what were you talking about?
Actually, you were talking, and then
Oh.
something about what you said reminded me about that. I don't know
Oh
why.
no, I was just talking about the actors. It was fine as long as these guys were not getting up every 2 seconds in their stupid award shows. It's kind of like it's fine as long as they weren't giving Ricky Gervais material. You know what I mean? And actually, by the way, a lot of people love what Ricky Gervais did because it was just like he literally like woke them up. He basically said, guys, I don't know if you realize this, but no one gives a damn about your freaking opinion. We acknowledge that you're talented people, that you know how to act, you know how to make movies. So do that. And when it's like Eddie Murphy used to tell, Stevie, because Stevie would get up, he's like, I just want to say, all the people in the world today, God's children, just take the money.
Shut the fuck up.
Get the blank off.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, just take the MF award and get the blank off the stage.
Right.
I just want to say the people in the
That's
world
terrible,
today.
man. Making fun of Stevie Wonder. He's a
All the Stevie Wonder joke. And I suppose in the sketch, Stevie crashes to a tree. Ha ha, very funny, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's a musical genius. That's terrible, man.
That's terrible, man. You must get a kickstand with a wooden leg, motherfucker. It's like, no, but it's like, get off this freaking stage. No one cares. What do you say? Thank your God. Here, you know what? I want to listen to it. Yeah, this is a classic clip. Ricky Gervais telling these. Here, see, I don't even have to type it out. Ricky Gervais Golden Globes. There you go. It got 48 million views. But this is like it's a long thing, but here.
Awards. So
Yeah. You hear it, right?
you'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards. So I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did.
Cool.
NBC clearly don't care either. 5th time. So I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello. Lucky for me, the Hollywood foreign press can barely speak English, and they've no idea what Twitter is. So I got offered this gig by fax. So let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So, yeah, remember that. But you all look lovely, all dolled up. You came here in your limos. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no.
Wow.
Shush. It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. So
That was like the scandal with the
school, yeah.
the university.
lots of big celebrities here tonight. I mean, legends, icons, yeah? This table alone. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. But
You know what? I want to get to the part where he talks about.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
That's
I
joke
want to
machine,
get to the
sorry.
part where he talks about get your award here. After this stupid ad. That's God. Here. Come on. Flipper.
Hello and welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards, live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais, thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking, I never did. Go with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense.
Hold
That must be the most embarrassing thing.
on 1 second.
Right, you could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching the show. Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way. So in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like
Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. It was a big year for
Amazing.
paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland,
Hold
Two Popes.
on a second. Oh,
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. The Irishman was amazing. Long, but amazing. It wasn't the only epic movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long. Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. So many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So we were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. It just, no. Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent. If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, accept your award, thank your agent and your God,
and blank off.
So,
There you go. There you go. That's it. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, man.
What can we say, man?
I don't know, man. Don't you have any more questions?
I don't have any more questions. The only thing I actually wanted to say that I think I might have to go, unfortunately, because there's like
I can't hear you, dude.
I
You
said
really
I
low.
might have to go, unfortunately, because there's Shabbos prep here.
Ah.
And there's commotion. You know, locomotion.
Emotions.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you. You're not staying in Jersey City, in Hoboken. Where's it? Newark.
No, I'm not. You mean for Shabbos by myself? No.
No, I mean like you're not staying there too much anymore.
Oh yeah, just because like our friend isn't there, and it's just kind of like it's an empty place. Our friend is in Asia Torah right now, Steigen, or
That's really awesome.
listening to rabbis talk at him, which is good. It's good to have rabbis talk at you. He's doing now what I did when I was basically his age. I think he's 32, 33, 32. It's one of those things, if he's not going to do it now, he's never going to do it. You know?
He's just a boy.
It's just. There was a rabbi who told me that when I was 31. He's like, if you're not going to do it now, you're never going to do it. So he's doing it. Baruch Hashem.
Dude, we got to figure something out about this damn audio thing. It's bad.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how it's going to sound.
You're barely hearing me or what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, is it? You take a look.
I'll take a look. I'll take a look. It's in my wife's name. I'll take a look. And he's like, Jackie's like, yeah. And Shamir's walking around the hall. It's like, do I? He's like, am I in the right place? Do I belong here? Is this the bathroom? Where's the bathroom? Just like random old dudes who don't know where the hell they are. Sounds familiar, huh?
Yeah. A little bit.
Oh man, when is this bizarre world go? I'm just wondering, like, when are we gonna have like not David Lynch life? We're just gonna keep living in this David Lynch world.
I have a crazy idea.
Like a dancing midget, you know?
I have a crazy idea.
Weird.
Do you think David Lynch would do our podcast?
Oh my God. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
He's probably one of those.
I was just
guys
thinking, because we could ask him when it's going to be over.
David Lynch is probably one of these guys who doesn't get the flip off the stage when he gets his award. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like every other clown in Hollywood today. Dude, I want to, if it's not too long, I want to end off maybe with, that thing I sent you, David Mamet, talking about Hollywood
Yeah.
and like what it's like to make a movie, whatever it is. Yeah, it's kind of a little longish. I mean, it's like 6 minutes long, 7 minutes long.
Marketing.
It's called David Mamet on the Current State of Hollywood. He's talking to Joe Rogan about a week ago. Actually, a month ago.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
To a large extent, you don't know. For example, if in Hollywood, I wrote my first movie, I think 1979, and the guy who gave me notes on the movie was a guy called Samson Rafelson. Samson Rafelson is famous because he wrote the first talking picture. That's how close I am to the beginning of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I got to enjoy like 40 years of the great adventure of the movie business. But the movies that I made aren't getting made anymore.
What kind of movies?
Well, independent films, right? Like when I made a bunch. I wrote 30 films for hire, and I directed like 12 films, and which I also wrote. But in those days, there was still a little bit of independence. So somebody said, okay, you know what, kid, I like the script. What's it going to cost? $4 million. Okay, good. Here's $4 million. Go make the movie and I'll sell it to blah, blah. So that was independent film. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't?
No, not that I know of. Because not only did that die, the movies are dead. They're dead. The whole idea of movies was, I'm going to get my best gal and my best boy and blah, blah, blah. We're going to go out on a Friday, Saturday night. We're going to sit in the dark. We're going to eat popcorn. And there's the people that are 20 feet high. They're like gods. We're going to have the best possible time. Right? And if I don't like that movie, I'll see another movie, blah, blah, blah. But now the movies are being played on this, right? And the movies have become so corporate, just like Twitter, that all the decisions, they aren't being made by some, the people I grew up with, ancient Jews like me smoking a cigar. Say, yeah, it seems like a good idea, go make it. They're being made by 30 people sitting on a board table, playing silly buggers and pig Latin with each other's pronouns, right? I get it. Things mature and things die. Who would have thought that Kodak would go out of business? Right. They had this magnificent hegemony. They made this little product that cost them nothing. And the more people used it, the more they had to use it. So who would Kodak would say 15 years ago, guys, we have to stop. There's this other thing now.
But they are still making some movies. Like, is it less? Like, is it overall like a lowered production of films? Is it?
No. The problem is always in who holds the high ground, right? Who holds the passes, controls the commerce. Right. Who owns the railroads, controls the commerce. Then who owns the blah, blah, blah. Who owns Twitter, controls the commerce.
So it's the suits at these movies.
Sure, they own the high ground. So when I was starting out in the theater, I had a blessing. I started out in a garage, with William H. Macy and Joe Mantegna and Dennis Franz and Billy Peterson. People became John Malkovich. The people who became huge stars. We just were working in the garage because we could. And then we eventually moved to Broadway and got some credibility because we could. But if you can only start off by entering at the corporate level, what are you going to do? For example, the people who made the chop shops in Southern California, right? They took cars and they said, wow, this would be a good idea. Let's take the Blazer and cut the roof off. I tell you what, let's take this Jeep and raise the fenders. Let's take blah, blah, blah. Those were guys in the garage, just like me and John Malkovich were in the garage, and all those ideas got adopted by GM, right? Where they looked at this marvelous invention and said, well, that's a good idea. I'll do that. And so last year, Ford bought out another Bronco. But if you take a degree in automotive design and get hired by Ford, you're going to be designing taillights for 10 years, right? So where's the individual initiative? It's not going to exist, as Milton Friedman says, until you give the people with inspiration a reason to reveal it. It's kind of a brilliant thing.
So what's
to
the
say.
bottleneck? Is the bottleneck financial? Is it just too expensive to make films so that they try to make a film that's only going to be financially viable? They don't take any creative choices or chances?
You know, who wants to make a film that's not going to be financial? Nobody ever
Right.
did. You know, sometimes the film was so expensive it didn't matter anymore. The bottleneck is the corporation which controls the high ground, the method of distribution. That's the bottleneck. And okay, over 100 years, vaudeville died, and then there was radio, and then radio died, and there was television, and then the movies, and then television. Then the television drove out the movies. The movies are dead, and television becomes streaming. So the method of distribution, I hate to sound like a Marxist, is determining the content, right?
Okay.
So you say, okay, I want to, rather than saying, honey, let's go out and see if there's anything with Clint Eastwood in it. You say, no, I bought a subscription, right? What's on my subscription series? What can I get on Netflix, right? So they're turning out sausages. Of course they are. But the movies were turning out sausages too, to the largest extent. I just had a good time making them.
So I'm still trying to figure out, like, what's this leap that you're making to being like this hardcore conservative or whatever you are?
Well, I don't. The leap is,
whatever you know. I don't. Hardcore conservative is wrong.
the leap is I have to be able to understand.
So your business doesn't exist in the way that it existed when you were coming up and making your great films
For me,
for you,
because the other thing is, I was 22 years old. I don't want to work with grandpa.
right?
I get it, right? The young people have a chance to have their day. The technology changed. Doesn't do any good. You know, I could to be the greatest designer of passenger trains in the world.
But they are still making independent films, right?
Yeah, there are a bunch of independent films.
So how do they get made?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Listen, Herman Melville, right, wrote the thing about the big fish, wrote a book about a big fish, Moby Dick, you remember him?
Yes.
So he says, the first thing he says in the book is there's no different. He says the greatest disparity in the world is between the people who are looking for work and the people who are looking for help. Right? So the people looking for help are always saying, Jesus Christ, I can't get good help. And the people looking for work say they can't get a job.
What do you think?
That's it?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting clip. So what did you want to?
No, from what I understand, what he's describing without realizing is the time of the Shekhinah. And that it's over.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that you can't, that they're not making movies anymore because it's just.
It's so funny, but they can't. It's like even those guys. You know, we never talked about this, but we have the answer to something that they're still baffled by, probably.
Yeah. They can't figure it out.
I never thought about that. That the guys that were making the movies that we love, they can't figure out why it can't continue.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. And he's a Baltruva guy too. Mammoth. Sort of. You know, as close as you could get. Listen, he's a conservative guy. He became conservative.
No, there's a lot of good things about people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The only problem I have with conservative, aside from the fact that they, you know, if they ever kind of like trounce on halacha, is just that there's a necessity for a separate movement called conservative.
No, what I mean is that he's a conservative politically person.
No, I know, but he's also conservative. Like he goes to a conservative shul.
Does he? I think he's a conservadox, maybe.
It doesn't matter. The point is that I don't think that there needs to be an Orthodox identity or a conservative, you know, religious identity. I think that's a serious problem, I think.
Yeah.
Remember my message of unity and hope, which was completely ignored?
Yeah.
Ooh, that hurt. That hurt my ego. You know, you just have these two people like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Moving along.
They didn't even say whatever. They were just kind of made a face and were quiet.
Yeah, listen. Sometimes people just can't. Sometimes people are not capable of thinking. You know what I mean? A lot of people just weren't taught to think. Period. They were taught to figure things out. You know, like I don't know, math problems or something. But they weren't taught to think, like the method of thinking. So when you say what you say, you know, first of all, the people in the gallery were like, "What are you talking about? You want to merge conservative and this and that?" They don't understand that you're saying what the Rebbe was saying. You know, like there's no such thing as there's just a neshama. You know, there's no orthodox or this or that. You know,
Yeah, the Rebbe was really against that crap.
it's a revolutionary. But that's, dude. Do you understand? Even like that is a revolutionary idea that people had to. You know, like half of the Lubavitchers sitting in 770 were like, "What? You mean I'm wasting my time with my hat and going to Morristown? And what do you mean like there shouldn't be Orthodox in this?" You know, Rebbe Mizrahi would be like, "Who? You know, if he heard the Rebbe, if the Rebbe was alive today and he heard the Rebbe say that, he'd be like, who is this person that calls himself a rabbi?" I
Man,
guarantee you, he'd say that about the Rebbe.
I do not envy Rabbi Mizrahi.
You know,
The guy should be careful
he should.
for his own. I'm not. It's not a threat or anything. I'm just saying, like,
But do you understand like the loftiness of that statement? Like to come and to say, "Hey guys, let's strip away all these denominations. Let's just let people be on their level, just Jews and neshamas." Yeah, we do have a thing of what's a neshama, you know, who has a Jewish neshama. We have halacha to aspire to, or halacha, you know, or levels of observing halacha to aspire to. But why do we need to do these groups? You know, as if we're doing like artificial shvatim, you know, like tribes. You know, I heard from some of these guys, you know, well, you know, we had shvatim back in the day, so you know, it's only normal that we break up into groups. Even within Orthodoxy, we break up into groups, you know? Like, no, it's stupid. It's categorically stupid. You want to say style this, you want to have your own style. You know, these guys wear this trimal, these guys do this, these guys have this. But like,
dude, the reason they were shvatim, do you know why? Because each one of them was dealing with one particular type of klippa that they had to elevate, that they had to remove and to elevate the sparks.
Yeah.
Their entire tribe and their entire identity was geared towards their job.
even what you're saying, even with the fact that they had like animosity and wars, you know, with
That stuff was no, that stuff was not part of the tribal identities. That was just, that was the infiltration of the Sitra Achra into their consciousnesses.
that was just like a human byproduct.
Yeah, that was not so the tribes themselves, each one of them was absolutely necessary. Everything that they did was indispensable.
Yeah.
Okay, and the fact that they had wars and the fact that they had conflicts was, it was like it's like somebody releasing COVID on the world.
Yeah.
That was not part of the thing, it was a
Part
horrible
of the
tragedy.
The economy was humming along just nicely.
Yeah.
And then some pricks released this Citrafa thing.
It's like the thing that I was reading to you guys yesterday, about Yoav and Avner, right? When they were sitting, the two generals, right? Yoav, David's general, and Avner, who was King Saul's general, right? They both showed up to this like natural pool with some of their soldiers. And Avner, the general, he yelled over to Yoav saying, let's have our boys, let's make some sport. Let's see, let's have a martial arts, a sparring competition. Let's see whose young men are tougher, better soldiers, whatever, But it was like mock training, you know what I mean? It was like that kind of thing. Perhaps their intention just occurred to me was even to maybe start reuniting the boys. You know, they thought that by having them like roughhouse or pal around, they might become closer and unite. That's possibly what their intention was. But then when they started wrestling and they started roughhousing, it got out of hand, and then it led to a very horrible battle. Right? So that whatever led to that, that's like, the Sitra Achra releasing COVID onto the world, right? Like it just found an opportunity to exploit. So whenever there was like horrible issues between the tribes, there was always something like that. We definitely need the tribes.
Yeah.
Listen, if it wasn't absolutely necessary, like we wouldn't have like prophecies about them saying that they're gonna, the Mashiach is gonna come and he's gonna sort them all out. Like what, why? Right? If it wasn't necessary. It's an eternal reality, something that needs to be, that is somehow in a way that we can't see now, but it'll be exposed, like the 12-5 reality. It'll be exposed.
That's it, sir. I gotta run to your Shabbos. And hopefully by Lag Bomer we'll, I always think of those people, those 45 guys, neshamas who we lost last year.
Yeah.
I really hope we get some sort of, I don't want to say use the word retribution, but just something,
Yeah.
Restitution. I don't know. Something diametrically opposite of what happened last year. Something in a positive sense. We need it, we're just tired of, there's like, at this point, Israel is just, it's getting dragged through the mud, and the people that are supposed to care don't even care, or they're pretending to care, but they're not really doing anything about it. Dude, freaking Ahmad Tibi, the Arab MK, physically stopped a cop from arresting an Arab kid, who did something wrong. Put it that way. And like, one of the cops, Israeli cops, told Channel 12, yeah, if he wasn't an elected official, he would have been handcuffs on the spot. Clearly this guy's not a lawyer, because he doesn't understand that, like, even what he did does not afford him immunity. His position, rather, doesn't afford him immunity from what he did, which is like obstruct a police officer from arresting belligerent. Doesn't matter who you are. You can't do that. You're a congressman, senator, you can't do that.
Everything about that government is a disgrace.
No, it just goes to show, like, they haven't given a damn about rule of law in years, if they ever did. They hate themselves, they hate us. And they need to leave, they need to go. I don't know who's going to replace them, but for sure the people that are, they show a picture. Lieberman is sitting with Lapid and Bennett. We're planning the budget. It's just like the lack of, is it like a trait of the Sitra Achra or the Erev to lack self-awareness about who they are? Do they know that they're the Erev? It almost seems like these guys lack self-awareness. How much?
Do they know that they're the Erev? Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Those guys, maybe those 3 guys.
Yeah.
I think they know.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody in the Knesset knows.
Yeah.
Some of them know. Or unless there's some like unseen people that are above, pulling the strings.
Yeah.
then they know.
You know, like the people that own the city of Khazaria, for example.
No, what do you mean by that?
The Rothschild family owns that city. It's not technically part of the of Israel.
What?
Yeah.
Caesarea?
Yep.
I've never heard this before.
Sir, give me a second.
Crazy.
Let's go to the videotape. Ah, okay.
Hey, you know that guy
Yeah.
Tim Burchett?
Who?
Tim Burchett is a congressman. I've mentioned him a few times.
Yeah.
You know, he's like part of he's one of the senators, one of the congressmen getting briefed on like the UFO stuff.
Mhm.
He said something really funny. Hold on.
Can I just read to you about the Rothschilds in Khazaria?
Actually, no, because you'll see why in a second.
Okay.
So somebody on Twitter asked him on Twitter.
Okay.
He said, "Hi, Congressman. Are there efforts currently underway to show the public what you are being briefed on behind closed doors, including the videos and the other pertinent information?" His response, "No." He's just no. He's like,
Hilarious.
okay, continue. Go ahead, Cesaria.
Okay. At the end of the 1950s, the Rothschild family transferred the Khazaria land. Hold on a second. Man.
All right, no problem.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, you want to save this for, because this is a very interesting topic.
Let me just read it and then we'll do it and then we'll talk about it in the beginning of the.
Okay.
At the end of the 1950s, the Rothschild family transferred the Khazaria land, some 30,000 dunams, to the Edmund de Rothschild Foundation and invited the state to be a partner in the foundation, capital F. The model according to which the foundation operates is a unique model where all the proceeds from the development of Khazaria community are transferred from the subsidiaries of the Edmund de Rothschild Foundation, the Khazaria Development Corporation, and Khazaria Properties Corporation to the foundation, which contributes to the advancement of education and higher education in Israel. When Baron de Rothschild, Edmund de Rothschild, died in 1997, the banking and philanthropic foundation to the family moved to his son, Baron Benjamin de Rothschild, and his wife, Baroness Ariane de Rothschild, are involved in and lead the Edmund de Rothschild Foundation in Israel as part of the Edmund de Rothschild Foundation's network of educators in the world. So basically, they own Khazaria. The government of Israel does not. It's like supposedly a partnership. The Edmund de Rothschild Foundation exemplifies the Rothschild family's longstanding commitment to the pioneering spirit of the state of Israel as part of the tradition of more than 100 years. The foundation has pioneered philanthropic vision that focuses on building a cohesive society by narrowing the social gap and promoting excellence, diversity, and leadership through higher education. We understand. The foundation seeks to motivate social change processes through dozens of projects across the country that provide opportunities for empowerment for many communities in Israel. Leads and develops, supports social entrepreneurship, and works to achieve higher education, entrepreneurship, art, and academic research.
Just a bunch of words.
Yes.
You know, I always thought it was weird to have a city in Israel named Caesarea.
Yeah. Listen. In 2000, so there you go. Agreement with the state. In 2018, June 2018, an agreement was signed between the state of Israel, the Rothschild House, and Edmund de Rothschild Foundation, according to which the parties agreed to extend the cooperation agreement between them until 2032, 10 years from the end of the previous agreement period. As part of the agreement, the Edmund de Rothschild Foundation will contribute approximately 1 billion shekels, which is like $300 million, over the next 3 years to promote joint national projects for the foundation in the state of Israel in the area of higher education. See, now they have like development corporation. Yes, in the 1960s, the company was entrusted with the realization of the vision of Baron Emmett Benjamin de Rothschild to turn Khazaria into a unique settlement and center of tourism, leisure, and recreation in the country by investing in the development of land for residential, industrial, and tourism purposes. All the proceeds are transferred to the Edmund Rothschild Foundation. They own Khazaria. They own the city of Khazaria, the entire city. But you were saying, yeah, it's interesting to have a city named Khazaria.
Yeah, and it's interesting that of all cities that they own, it would be that one.
Yeah, there you go. And guess who lives there? Bibi.
Bibi actually lives in
A
that
bunch
city.
of other Arab.
Unbelievable.
It all makes
It's really
sense,
from
right?
there.
It all makes sense, my friend.
It's the Egyptian priesthood
Yeah.
town,
Yeah, that's
owned by high-level Egyptian priesthood.
Yeah.
It's like they have to own their own city. Like they can't even be. It's very interesting that there's like you ever heard of the city of London?
Yes. Yes.
Not you know what I mean, not London itself.
No, I know. It's like the Wall Street of what's it called?
No, I don't know if you know this, but the city of London is a separate government. It's a separate country technically from England or London itself.
Yeah.
There's a guy who lives there who is called the Lord Mayor of the city of London. And the Queen of England cannot she can't go there unless he comes and gives her permission to enter.
Yeah.
And there's this whole bizarre ritual that they have. He puts on this crazy getup with this crazy hat.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see this.
Yeah. It's retarded. The whole thing is retarded.
What's crazy, and this is what's crazy, if you were to draw a line, or there, like the city of London has like its perimeter, right? Like if you were to take that and look at it from above, right, you could literally pick the city up, right, and then fly it across to London. To Paris, and you can put it on top of this special park that's in the middle of Paris that has the same exact shape and size as the city of London. There's a lot of weird shit going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't know that was going on in Israel too.
Yeah, so dude, come on. As if there was any doubt.
They live in a city that is not part of the Israeli government.
It's not part of a state. It's not. Yeah.
It's not part of the state. So what? It has its own government in there?
I don't know if it says go. No, like there's a mayor. Talk about the real estate of all the real estate is owned by this family.
Okay, so it's not like it's not like the Vatican, its own government.
It it's like a poor man's version of that. I guess you could say.
Not out in the open, basically.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Israel has to give the veneer of independence. They have to supposedly Jerusalem is independent, which it's not. Like half the stuff is owned by like Putin or something.
Putin owns half of Jerusalem? That's crazy.
No, not half. I'm being hyperbolic. But no, like Putin owns a ton of stuff. The church owns a ton of stuff. God knows who else owns it.
Hey,
Lord knows who owns Jerusalem.
Before you go, I want you to go on my Facebook.
Okay.
Okay? Tell me when you're there. We talked about this. I just want you to see it with your own eyes. I just want to hear.
Yeah. Your brother, the person that is imitating your brother.
No. Just go to my profile.
What am I looking at?
So scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll down until you see.
Egyptian priesthood. Oh, that.
Yeah. You see that? Watch the video.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Yeah, I see it. I've seen stuff like that before.
I want to witness you watching this.
You want to what?
I want you to watch it, and I want to just.
I saw it. Yeah, it's I've seen stuff like that before. Yeah. It's great.
Okay, now scroll down a little bit more.
Yeah.
See the next video?
Yes, I saw that video is an old video. Yeah, I've seen it.
This is an old one?
Yeah, it's been circulated many times. Yeah. It's great, dude. It's great. Yeah. Nothing else to say.
Yeah. Just wanted to leave off on a positive note, that's all.
Yes. All right, sir.
Job on.
I gotta go help out. And we shall converse later.
Couldn't hear the last thing you said.
I said we shall converse later.
We shall converse. Hey, do you want to do a podcast, a live stream on Tuesday during the congressional hearings?
We could. Oh yeah. Oh, during the alien thing. Yeah.
Dude, it's in
Whatever,
Congress. I mean, it's theater because government is fake, but let's see what they're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Arrivederci. Good night. You know this whole Arrivederci thing? It started when I was trying to do that character from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Mhm.
You know, the convict who
Yes.
picked him up. He's like, Arrivederci, baby. And then it morphed into
More
Bush.
into, yeah, into what was it called?
Viva el Cuba Libre.
Yeah.
All right, go help your parents, man.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Love.
Bye.